Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
This, this is impossible. Susan and I are both very ordinary people. Why do you have such a horrible child? Reed, as a smart guy, he reacted quickly. However, this kind of power appearing in his own child was not what he wanted, because once you have this power, that means trapped in a whirlpool surrounded by danger. If possible, he would rather Neo Lin was an ordinary person. I don't know the details. Professor X paused for a moment and said slowly, although the two of you are very powerful, you are not that powerful. In this case, it can only be attributed to the fact that Neo Lin was originally a powerful mutant. Even if the two of you hadn't been baptized by cosmic energy, he would still be so powerful. Mutant genes are so unreasonable. Susan and Reed looked at each other, saw what was in each other's eyes, and couldn't help but sigh. In that case, Susan was full of reluctance. She really didn't want to be separated from her child at such a young age. Neo Lin didn't know that Professor X had already defined himself as an originally powerful mutant. At the moment, he was traveling around Xavier College under the leadership of Beast. His eyes were mainly focused on those he was very familiar with. For example, Phoenix Chin, and there are Cyclops, Little Rascal, Storm, and so on and so forth. Steel doesn't seem to have entered Xavier College yet, so there is no sign of him for the time being. The Little Rascal is not very old, probably around high school age. She wears gloves on her hands all year round so that she can absorb people's memories and abilities through physical contact. So many people are afraid of her. But the weakness is also obvious, it won't work without physical contact. The Little Rascal seemed to notice Neo Lin's look and glanced at him as well. For a little kid, she just glanced at it. Wandering around suddens. The playground outside became noisy. Beast frowned slightly and walked out with Neo Lin. Everyone at Xavier Academy is usually very nice, so why is there a commotion when an important guest comes? He was a little worried that this would leave a bad impression on Neo Lin. Make way, students, make way. I saw that it was Beast who came. The students who were watching all made way to let Beast and Neo Lin approach, and after seeing the two people having a conflict, Neo Lin and Beast's expressions became very interesting. It's Jonathan the Human Torch and Pyro. No one knew what the conflict between the two was, but it was very intense. He and Beast looked at each other. I thought it was an internal conflict at Xavier College. I didn't expect it to be Jonathan and the fireman. Well, it's somewhat related to both sides. You are not a mutant. Why do you dare to stand in front of me and show off your power? The fireman is holding a lighter in his hand, has an extremely bad temper, and looks like he's ready to start a fight at any time. I've said it before, although I'm not a mutant, I understand your situation. Jonathan said angrily, if you can't understand, then there is no point in talking about this. I didn't want to talk to you in the first place. The fireman sneered. Okay then. Then let's not talk about it. You and I have the same idea. What I hate most is talking all the time. Suddenly, a ball of fire appeared on Jonathan's body. This ball of fire was like long-suppressed energy that exploded in an instant, spreading rapidly and covering his entire body. The clothes turned into ashes in an instant in the flames, but his skin was not damaged at all. It was as if the body had merged with the flame. As the flames covered him, Jonathan immediately turned into a burning fireman. The man was looming in the flames. Every breath seemed to emit a tongue of blazing fire. Boom! The scorching heat quickly swept around, and the surrounding air became distorted due to the high temperature. The heat of the flame is like an invisible wave, spreading outward in wave after wave, makes surrounding objects hot. The grass and trees on the ground withered quickly under the scorching heat. It even started to smoke, as if it was about to catch fire. The fireman's expression suddenly became particularly good-looking. He glanced at the lighter in his hand. Then a smile appeared on his face. It seems that you don't know what my ability is. The flame on your body is much more powerful than the fire from a lighter. It looked like a fight was about to break out. Beast immediately wanted to step forward to stop it. However, he suddenly found that he could not move his body. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't open my mouth. Beast looked at Neo Lin in shock. Yes, it was Neo Lin who did it. Don't miss such a good show. A fireman who controls fire. And the Human Torch who was all on fire. Who will win? This. Beast looked at Neo Lin beside him in shock. his mind full of question marks. Could it be this child? He actually controlled me. He tried desperately to break free. Unfortunately, the whole person seems to be stuck in a quagmire. Don't even mention that you can't move your body. I couldn't even open my mouth, speak, or stop. And Beast didn't stop it. It would be even less likely that Jonathan and the fireman, who already had very bad tempers, would stop. Nuo Lin folded her arms across her chest, watching the scene in front of me as if I were watching a show. Because we are facing a mutant, Jonathan showed no mercy when he attacked. He just raised his hand. Boom. As he gestured, a flame gushed out from his palm. The flame was like a released fire dragon rushing towards the fireman. The thickness of the flame is about 30 centimeters. Draw a fiery trail in the air. It's like a small fire dragon soaring in the air, with an unstoppable momentum. The fireman seemed unusually calm in the face of the fierce flames. He smiled slightly, with a hint of amusement in his voice. Interesting. You know, his title is Fireman, a full range of abilities. It is to manipulate and enhance the flame, faced with attacks from fire. For him, it's like a joker, definitely, this is just what he thinks. The fireman quickly pressed the lighter in his hand. A ball of flame leaped out. Boom! He waved his arms and transformed the flame into a long fire dragon heading towards Jonathan's flame. The two fire dragons collided violently in the air. Bang! In an instant, fire flew everywhere, as brilliant as firework. The collision of flames creates huge amounts of energy fluctuations. Sparks scattered on the surrounding lawns. The dry grass leaves were ignited instantly. A raging fire broke out. The scorching heat swept around. The air was distorted and the temperature around rose sharply, making the students around feel as if they were in a furnace. Not every student or every mutant at Xavier Academy has combat capability. A level of fireman is already considered top combat power among ordinary students. Almost second only to X-Men, it's the first echelon. Naturally, his fighting made it impossible for these students to get involved. Everyone watched as Jonathan and the fireman actually started fighting. They all ran away immediately. Only Nuo Lin and Beast still stood by them. The little rascal was also among those who evacuated. However, she was kind-hearted and didn't know how powerful Nuo Lin was. Go. Holding Nuo Lin's hand, the naughty boy wanted to drag him away, but like this. But I found that it seemed like I had pulled it on a stone pier. Nuo Lin didn't move at all. Don't worry, I'm fine. Nuo Lin looked at Xiao Taoqi with some surprise and smiled slightly. The little rascal thought this looked weird, something only a teenager could do. Although he is younger than me, he is like my brother. However, it seems that there is really no need for her to help him. It's a bit beyond one's capabilities. She then glanced at Beast and quickly ran away. Hey, hey, hey. Stop fighting, stop fighting. Bleh, bleh. Some classmates were giving advice. However, how could Fireman and Jonathan, who were already so angry, stop? The flames of the two people intertwined in the air. The colors of the flames became more vivid as they collided, from bright orange to fiery red to deep blue. Temperature from low to high. The roar of the flames echoed in the air, as if the most primitive force in nature was venting its existence. The fire dragon of the fireman seemed even more ferocious in the collision. His fire dragon was tumbling in the air, actually constantly devouring Jonathan's flames. No, not devouring. But the fireman is gradually taking away Jonathan's control over the fire. This is the most fundamental ability of Burning Man. Control the fire. Ha 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 ha. The fireman had a smile on his face and looked very excited. Jonathan also felt that his fire was being taken away from him. However, he was not panicked at all. Looking at the smug fireman, he smiled contemptuously. After all, he is just a young child if you are still in school. Just a high school student. If you have a little advantage, you will lose your way. The duel of flames continued. Flames and high temperatures raged around, enveloping everything in a scorching atmosphere. Wait. This is impossible. Suddenly, the fireman looked at Jonathan in the flames with some disbelief. Anything is possible, kid. Human Torch, not just natural fire, it can also control fire. They are all playing with fire, and the only thing they are competing for is whose flame is more powerful. Obviously, the Human Torch is stronger than Pyro. Jonathan used the flames from one hand to block the fireman's attack, and then he used his other hand to spit out a long tongue of fire and attack the fireman. And at the moment, stop right there, what are you doing? Boom. The clear sky was suddenly covered with dark clouds. It was as if the curtain of the sky was suddenly drawn down, cover up the entire Xavier Academy. The dark clouds gathered quickly like thick inky silk, blocking the sunlight and making the originally bright sky become gloomy. Boom. 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 Lightning flashed between the dark clouds. Flashes of lightning cut through the sky like silver swords, illuminating the edges of the dark clouds and dividing the sky into a pattern of light and dark. Thunder followed closely behind. It was like the roar of a god, shaking the earth and filling people with awe, just as the lightning and thunder were happening. A voice came from the dark clouds. The voice was clear and majestic. Mixed with the sound of electric current, it seems as if Thor has come to the world. The voice seemed even louder against the backdrop of thunder. It penetrated the cover of the dark clouds and reached everyone's ears. "Stop it, what are you doing?" As the voice sounded, a tense atmosphere filled the air of Xavier Academy. The students stopped and watched. Look up at the sky, his eyes were full of surprise. "It's Mr. Storm. Teacher Storm is here. Now they can finally stop." The female voice in the dark clouds sounded again. Her voice became clearer. It's like talking directly to each person. "Stop your fighting. This is a place for learning, not a stage for you to show off your strength." The voice was full of exhortation and warning. Xavier College is one of the few pure lands of mutants. No one wants this place to become like the outside world where problems are solved by force at every turn. Every mutant, no matter how strong or weak, everyone should be equal. "Oh, you are indeed an Omega-level mutant. It's different from the usual mutant appearance." Neo Lin looks up at the sky. Among X-Men, Storm is one of the few Omega-level mutants. It can be said that it is already the top level of mutant. Unfortunately, there is something better than the best. But what's the use of being extraordinary? Both Burning Man and Jonathan were furious. There's no way he'd really stop just because of Storm's words, or no one wants to stop first. In their eyes, doesn't it mean that whoever stops first is the first to give in? Instead, he exerted even more force. The fireman forced one hand free to block Jonathan's side attack. In the dark clouds, the figure of a white-haired black woman slowly descended. She was wearing an X-Men battle suit and her face was determined. Watching Burning Man and Jonathan, there was obvious displeasure in his eyes. I saw her waving her right hand violently. The movements were crisp and clear. Boom. As she moved, a violent storm arose from the ground. The wind came with great force, turning into a swift gust of wind, like an invisible dragon, instantly rushing towards the flames, confronting Jonathan and the firemen. The strong wind cut through the air like a sharp blade. It was so fast that it reached the center of the fire almost in the blink of an eye. Under the impact of the strong wind, the flame exploded instantly like a target being hit. Bang. In an instant, fire flew everywhere. Sparks bloomed in the air like fireworks and then quickly went out. At Storm's gesture, Gale continued forward. Its power remains undiminished, while completely dispersing the flames. It also separates Jonathan from the fireman. The confrontation between the two was interrupted by this sudden force. They had to move back to avoid the strong wind. However, how can the two of them now compare with the battle-hardened Storm as the flames spread? Jonathan and the fireman were also blown away and fell heavily to the ground. They rolled several times and had mouthfuls of mud. Even the flames on Jonathan's body were dispersed. If not for the fact that some of the clothes he was wearing were specially made by Reed, he would now be lying on the ground naked. Tusk, boring, is this the end? Neo Lin was still thinking whether he should help the fireman. Then watch Burning Man and Jonathan have a fierce battle. He simply thought it was interesting. Isn't this much more fun than fighting crickets electronically on the internet? Pause. Jonathan and firemen kept spitting out the dirt in their mouths. Storm landed on the ground and began to scold the two. Neo Lin also released Beast from his restraints. Neo Lin, your name is Neo Lin, right? Beast felt the restraints on him disappear and heaved a sigh of relief, looking at Neo Lin with some fear. "Yes, it's me." Neo Lin nodded indifferently. "Was that your ability just now?" Beast was still frightened. Yes." Neo Lin still nodded generously. Beast swallowed hard. He seemed to understand why the professor was so panicked. "This kid is so amazing at such a young age. What will happen in the future? Why did you stop me from stopping them just now?" Beast asked the question in his mind. "Hey Beast, don't you think it's fun to watch them fight? It's like a cricket fight, very interesting." Neo Lin had a smile on his face. This made Beast shudder. "Shit, this is still a little devil. Amazing, amazing," Beast screamed in his mind. This is the little devil. At first glance, he looks like the kind of naughty kid who is not afraid of anything happening, but is just afraid that the things aren't big enough. If it was just an ordinary naughty kid, it would be fine. The main reason is that Neo Lin's ability is too terrifying. Even the professor was scared and it was easy to control himself. What will happen if this kind of thinking continues? What if Xavier Academy is in tatters? No, he can't be enrolled, Xavier. Beast first pretended to comfort Nuolin. Then he quickly left and ran in the direction of Professor X. Nuolin naturally listened to all of Beast's thoughts. The little devil. Yeah, I really am. He nodded seriously, agreeing with Beast's evaluation of him. I just want to see the world in chaos. Is there anything wrong with that? It's fun when things get messy. If it's not messy, then what's the point of staying here? At the moment, Professor X has made everything clear to Reed and Susan. No matter what conclusion the three of them came to, they all had a very pleasant conversation. However, when he saw Beast in a hurry and kept making eye contact, Professor X could see that there were some things Beast didn't want Reed and Susan to know. Then it's obvious. This must be something about Nuolin. What happened? Professor X delivered his words with telepathy ability. Beast breathed a sigh of relief. Begin to recount in your mind what just happened. Professor X's expression also changed from being steady at the beginning to being wonderful. Etc. Could it be that Nuolin can control his ability freely? His concerns are different from Beast's, because, in his opinion, Nuolin is just a child after all. It's normal for children to be a little playful. Mainly that power, has he completely taken control of it? If not, it's easy to deal with. If yes, that's a bit more complicated and we need to consider what Beast said just before that. Beast, have you forgotten the purpose of our Xavier Academy? We will not abandon any mutant nor any human being. Professor X didn't think much about it. Instead, he immediately said that he needed to talk to Nuolin again. Reed and Susan just thought it was Nuolin's psychological preparation before entering school. Their trust in Professor X meant they had little doubt. In addition, Beast also told them about Jonathan's matter. This immediately made their expressions become very interesting, and they immediately ran out to deal with Jonathan's affairs. Soon, Nuolin was called into the office. Speak to Professor X alone. As soon as he came in, he sat down on the chair by himself. What do you want from me? Professor X glanced at Nuolin and asked directly, Child, have you been able to control your ability? I never said I couldn't use my abilities. Nuolin looked at Professor X and said calmly, I just didn't bother to care about you just now. If I wanted to care about you, I would crush you in a minute with your mental strength. Professor X's eyes almost popped out, so he knows everything. Even though he was a veteran of many battles, he still felt a little creepy and scary at the moment. This is really invincible, kid, suddenly. Like Beast, he was somewhat afraid to let Nuolin stay in Xavier College. According to Nuolin, he can do it and he also has the ability to crush himself. That is to say, the entire Xavier is just his back garden in his eyes. Ability definitely cannot be taught. If we divide the master and apprentice according to ability, then Professor X is the moment when you should become the apprentice. But Professor X's thoughts were wandering. He was somewhat reluctant to give up Nuolin. Kid, I can't teach you how to control your ability. But I still hope you can enroll. Xavier Academy will teach you how to relax and not care about the strange looks from outsiders. Nuolin was not bewitched by Professor X at all. He groaned, Sorry, I have never found it difficult to accept the strange looks from outsiders. In my opinion, it is just an emotion born out of the fear of the powerful by ants. I can run them over any time, so I don't really care. Like would an elephant mind the gossip of ants on the roadside? Yes. Professor X doesn't want Mutant to ignore other people's strange looks. But it didn't say that. This child's thinking must be changed, otherwise the future will be an extremely unstable bomb. Can't teach ability, but it can teach ideological lessons. Thinking has always been a very important course at Xavier College. Nuolin saw what Professor X was thinking, but I'm too lazy to care. If he were a mutant, he would definitely not be able to get along with Professor X. That's what he wanted, Magneto. Unfortunately, he is not. Neither a mutant nor a human, can only be considered as an earthling. Then Nuolin's attitude must be to just play around and go wherever is fun. Professor X's proposal for admission to Xavier. Nuolin's answer is both are fine. It doesn't matter, it's just a small matter, it doesn't matter. This is indeed a small matter for him. Enroll in Xavier College. Can you restrict him and make him do things he doesn't want to do? This is obviously impossible. Same, not enrolling in Xavier. Nuolin can also come to Xavier to play at any time. Who can stop him? Who can stop him? Cyclops, Storm, or Professor X? Or maybe Chin? Well, if Phoenix Chin has all Phoenix Force awakening, so for him it is still a little bit threatening, but it's just a little bit. But since Professor X has already brought it up, Nuolin doesn't mind. The other side, Susan has already taught her brother a lesson. After all, no matter right or wrong, making trouble on someone else's territory, that won't work. Get this matter resolved. Finally, we can distinguish right from wrong. In fact, it is very simple for the two to have a conflict. Jonathan the Human Torch and John the Pyro. I just bumped into it accidentally while walking. Jonathan, who was the first to hit someone, apologized. John spit out a few words casually. Now Jonathan couldn't help it. Although it is true that I bumped into you accidentally, it was accidental and I didn't do it on purpose. Now I have apologized, what else do you want? As a result, the two people who disliked each other started fighting. All I can say is that she is worthy of being America. Anything can lead to a fight. Well, but fighting is the lightest thing. After resolving this matter, Reed, Susan, Jonathan, and New Lynn left Xavier College together. After returning home, the couple told Jonathan and Stoneman about their idea of enrolling New Lynn in Xavier College. In fact, neither of them had any objection. The only unpleasant thing that happened to Jonathan at Xavier College was with John the fireman. The other mutants were very friendly, he could see that. It would definitely be nice if New Lynn lived in that environment. After all, New Lynn is too special and he doesn't know how to teach him. The stone man didn't go with him, but he had heard a little about Xavier College. Therefore, no objection was expressed. Besides, New Lynn is the child of Susan and Reed, their refusal is of no use. Several people prepared a school admission party for New Lynn at home. Eat and drink enough. Pack up New Lynn's things. The very next day, New Lynn was sent to Xavier College. Originally, Susan wanted New Lynn to stay at home for a few more days. After all, she is a mother, so it is normal for her to be reluctant to part with her child. But Reed refused. Sometimes it is easy to feel worse if you don't make a decision. It would be better to just send it away. After bidding New Lynn a reluctant farewell, they boarded their own plane. I can be said to be like this. The sea is wide for fish to leap and the sky is high for birds to fly. New Lynn's admission was destined to be grand. Professor X personally assigned him accommodation, personally introduced him to the various facilities and teachers in the college. He was also very lenient with New Lynn. As for courses, you don't need to take the courses that teach you how to control your abilities. Just take the cultural classes. But New Lynn, you are still young. You can skip classes and play in the academy for a while. Then go when you feel ready. Professor X for New Lynn, I don't dare to care too much. He was afraid that this child with explosive power would be unhappy because of his jurisdiction, directly blew up Xavier College. New Lynn used his telepathy ability to hear Professor X's thoughts, a little speechless. No. Am I that scary? You're going to blow up Xavier Academy just because of a disagreement. What do you think of yourself? Too lazy to spray, lying in your own independent dormitory. New Lynn yawned and immediately opened the Wanji chat group. Speaking of which, it seems like I haven't checked the Wanji chat group for 2 days. But nothing happened in the past 2 days. They are all chatting normally. Occasionally, Zio Jianjian will come out and play some fun to add a bit of fun to everyone's daily life. Yuoki Asuna. Hey, a virtual game is going to be released soon. I never dared to think about it before. This is simply a great advancement in human technology. Gambling maniac waits. Virtual games, are they what I think they are? Yuuki Asuna, you put on a helmet, connect your brain waves, and then you can enter another world. The feeling is said to be very real. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Hey, is SAO coming out soon? The world's first virtual reality, massively multiplayer online role-playing game, SAO, is officially released today. A total of 10,000 copies will be sold for the first time, and the server will be officially launched on November 6th. All players will enter the virtual world through a machine called NERV Gear. Yuuki Asuna, how did New Lynn know? Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Do you want to play SAO? New Lynn was too lazy to answer Asuna's question. Yuuki Asuna, yes, it is said to be very fun, but it is hard to get. My brother seems to be trying to get it. I don't know if I can get it. Gambling maniac, hey, that sounds really exciting, I want to play. Virtual game, this means that humans can feel more powerful in the game, possess various skills. An ordinary person in this kind of game, being able to feel the pleasure of having super abilities, it can even help disabled people stand up again in the game. Therefore, this type of game has existed since the concept of games emerged. Many people are interested in this thing, even if you are not interested in the game, also interested in virtual games. The game concept is good. Only Marvel's strongest elementary school student. It's better not to play. SAO has another name called the Death Game. Yuuki Asuna meow. Yuuki Asuna Death Game, what does that mean? Yuuki Asuna looked confused. Ever since Kayaba Akihiko launched SAO, the internet is a carnival. Everyone is looking forward to the appearance of SAO, but the death game, but no one mentioned it. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. SAO is actually a game that you can't leave without completing the walkthrough. GAMEOVER is also equivalent to declaring the player's death. Only those who accept this contradictory fact can survive. Death in the game is equivalent to declaring the player's death. Yuoki Asuna. Yuoki Asuna what? Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Actually, once you put on a helmet and connect to your brain waves, you are not allowed to quit on your own. You either pass the level or die. Yuuki Asuna, is this true? Wow, this is too outrageous. How could someone in the world make a game like this? Marvel's strongest elementary school student. This world is not short of crazy people, nor is it short of crazy geniuses. The creator of SAO, Kayaba Akihiko. I have been pursuing my dream since I was a child. When I was a child, I imagined a castle floating in the air. When he grew up, he studied any RV gear and created the SAO game and eventually made the seed. He doesn't like the real world. Therefore, he has to create reality in fantasy, and the reality is that death is an inevitable part of life. Gambling maniac, look at it this way, he is really a crazy genius. The pothead leader. It feels like these geniuses all have some quirks. Blood Demon, I was thinking of trying to see if I can play it. Yuuki Asuna, can't you just take off the helmet? Marvel's strongest elementary school student. No, taking off or destroying the helmet will be considered as leaving the game, which will trigger the helmet's self-destruct program and completely destroy the player's brain waves, which is no different from death. Deadpool. Shit, now that you mention it, I suddenly want to play. Deadpool, can he kill me? Can he kill me? Marvel's strongest elementary school student. I can't kill you, but don't worry, I can kill you. Deadpool Wade's self-healing ability is more like a conceptual level of self-healing. Even if you are beaten to ashes, you can recover. This destruction of his brain waves would at most turn him into an idiot for a short period of time, and then he would be back to normal. Deadpool. No, don't do that. Yuuki Asuna hissed, so, no, I'm going to stop them from playing SAO. Yuuki Asuna and others have great faith in Newlin. There is absolutely no need to deceive them. Reminding her was only out of protection for the group members. But, as a person with normal values, Yuuki Asuna couldn't bear to watch this happen before her eyes. There are 10,000 places available for the initial sale. Even if some people didn't experience it right away, that's still over 9,000 people. This death game is playing with the lives of more than 9,000 people. Kayaba Akihiko is indeed cruel and crazy enough. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Don't hold your hopes too high. SAO is too advanced a game for you. There are too many people who want to play it. Even if someone really believes in it, they may not be able to get it. If you grab the letter and sell it, there will still be people who buy it. Yuuki Asuna, we have to give it a try, don't we? Deadpool. I suddenly want to meet this Kayaba Akihiko. If he is a mutant, he must be awesome. No need to think about it. If Kayaba Akihiko is a mutant, then he is definitely an even more extreme extremist than Magneto. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Wait, but coming to that, I suddenly suggest that you go and have some fun. Yuuki Asuna. Asuna was a little dumbfounded. This game of death, what are you going to do by yourself? Are you looking for death? Newlin wouldn't let himself do something like this, right? Should be, right. Newlin seemed to see what Asuna was thinking. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. I'm not asking you to die. There is a way to change the world's plot in the Wanji chat group. You can get points. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Asuna, the plot of your world is all centered around SAO. If you don't go in, you can't change the plot of the world, and you can't get points. Gambling maniac. There is such a thing in the Wanji chat group. Deadpool's how come I don't know. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. No, didn't you guys read the introduction of the Wanji chat group? Blood Demon, who has nothing better to do than to watch that thing. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Oh, then I should be quite free. Yuuki Asuna. Hiss, I'm a little scared, I don't dare. Joke, although you can get points. But this is a death game after all, except for those who are obsessed with death or are simply crazy. Otherwise, no one can enter into this game without any psychological burden knowing that it is a death game. And obviously, Yuuki Asuna is not crazy. I didn't think about dying. Newlin knew what Asuna was thinking. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. What are you afraid of? I can get you out anytime. Besides, with the points, it's easy to protect my brain waves. No matter how exaggerated it is. It just means that he is more powerful in the ordinary everyday world. Take the world of X-Men and Marvel, to be honest, quite average. If his father Reed in this life does a little research, he can easily create a virtual game. And it's just brain waves. Anyone who is a telepath want to block this force that destroys brain waves. It's as simple as stepping on an ant on the roadside. There is absolutely no pressure at all, not to mention it's New Lin. Yuuki Asuna, is this true? Yuuki Asuna, but I'm still a little scared. The overlord of the universe. With his promise, what are you still afraid of? It's just a little bit of wind and frost. You also know how important points are. If you can get points, what's the harm in taking this risk? Gambling maniac, it's a rare time that I support what Burroughs said. Deadpool, just a few bruises. Yuuki Asuna, yeah. What everyone said is true. Although I am still a little scared, I feel more confident with Newlin and the Bankai chat group here. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Anyway, just watch it yourself. I can't force you. Newlin is just doing this for their own good. Marvel's strongest elementary school student, by the way, is Nezuko awake? Deadpool, she hasn't woken up yet, she's still sleeping. She's been sleeping for 2 days. The pot-headed leader, what a sleepyhead. Marvel's strongest elementary school student, normal. After all, although she is a ghost, she doesn't eat people. She can only rely on sleeping to replenish her energy. Blood Demon, it's pitiful. I really want to rush over and punch that damn Kibitsuji Musen to death. Nezuko, meow. Yuuki Asuna. Wow, Zayadazi, are you awake? Nezuko, what is this? Blood Demon, hiss. Nezuko, I feel like I'm still dreaming. I'm going to sleep for a while. Tanjiro Kamado, who was carrying a wooden box on his back, felt that Nezuko in the box was constantly making a humming sound. I don't know what he is talking about. I just felt that Nezuko seemed very confused. He quickly weighed the box behind him as if he was coaxing a child. Nezuko, it's okay, everything is fine. Yuuki Asuna. Hiss, Nezuko, are you confused and thinking that you were dreaming when you joined the Bankai chat group a few days ago? Blood Demon, it seems so. The pot-headed leader. Looks like I have to explain it again. After several people's explanation, the confused Nezuko finally realized that she was not dreaming, Marvel's strongest elementary school student. It seems that the Wanji chat group has the function of making the dumb speak. Although Nezuko is not mute, but it's not much different from being a mute. I can't speak normally at all. But in the chat group they can communicate like normal people. It looks like he hasn't recovered mentally yet and he looks a bit like a child. Nezuko, what do you mean? Marvel's strongest elementary school student. No, I was saying you're cute. Nezuko, oh thank you, you're cute too. Yuuki Asuna, such a simple girl. Ding, my super ability is money, join the chat group. Ding, Super Saiyan, join the chat group Super Saiyan. What is this? Super Saiyan, how did you appear in my mind? 2 classic questions to ask when seeing a new member joining the group. Everybody knows. It was their turn to start answering questions. Yo, Super Saiyan. The chat group is more interesting. In Neolin's impression, there are quite a few Super Saiyans, Son Goku and Vegeta, and Son Goku's son Son Gohan, and there is Vegeta's son Trunks. Wait. This was not enough for him to recognize who it was. But if you wait and see, you should be able to get a general idea. In the Wanji chat group, after a meal of answers, this Super Saiyan finally understood what the chat group meant, a look of excitement. Super Saiyan Bankai, masters from all over the world. Super Saiyan, doesn't that mean I can challenge strong men from all over the world in the chat group? This will definitely help me improve my combat power. Yuuki Asuna, hiss, is the newcomer the same person as Burroughs? Blood Demon, I hate people who come into a group and say they want to challenge this and that. Come on, passerby. The pot-headed leader, The pot-covered leader, what does this have to do with me? Forget it. Kageyama Shija quickly refused. It doesn't matter whether we won or lost the last fight. Mainly because I was tricked by Pava. Even though Pava didn't mean it, he was still a little scared. Blood Demon, hey, what do you mean? Can I treat you badly? Gambling maniacs. Your last move must have scared the kid enough, be steady. Blood Demon, what do you mean, Mengzi, do you also look down on me? Gambling maniac, no, don't say that, I never looked down on you. Blood Demons, no. You just look down on me. Deadpool, yeah, she just despises you, Pava. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. That's enough, little jerk, stop fanning the flames. Super Saiyan. Wait, there's a universe master in the group. Moment, the Super Saiyan became alert. You know, what did the previous overlord of the universe do? What they do is, once they find a planet with life, they kill all the natives there and then sell it to other people. Is this the same for the overlord of the universe? That really needs to be a warning. What if they are of the same race? What? Marvel's strongest elementary school student. At Universe Overlord, someone is looking for you. Blood demons. Speaking of which, this guy should be quite to Burrow's taste. He looks like a martial arts fanatic who always thinks about fighting. Universe Overlord. Master of the universe who wants to fight. Super Saiyan, it's me. Definitely me. Super Saiyan, your name is Burrows, right? Do you know Frieza? The Overlord of the universe. I don't know him. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. Super Saiyan. Okay, I also want to see the style of the masters of the world. Just at this moment, the Wanji chat group suddenly fell silent. The Overlord of the universe. Are you scared? Super Saiyan hiss, how do we fight? Faint. So you don't know how to fight? Everyone explained to him how to initiate the challenge. Super Saiyan got it, thanks everyone. Group member Super Saiyan invites Universe Overlord to a virtual battle. Both parties have agreed the virtual battlefield is open. Group members can enter the virtual audience seats at any time to watch the game. As soon as you enter the spectator seats. Then I saw a man with a unique crab head and wearing an orange-yellow martial arts uniform standing there. He looked silly. There was an innocent smile on his lips. His eyes constantly moved around, as if he was full of curiosity and kindness towards everything around him. His eyes were clear without any malice in them. Although she looks quite old, her smile and eyes are extremely innocent. It turned out to be Sun Wukong. Nuolin thought to himself, then there will be something interesting to watch next. You do look different from Frieza, but you're all weird. Sun Wukong looked at Burrows in front of him. Made an evaluation. Burrows' one eye did not reveal anything else, just pure suspicion. Sure, such an idiotic-looking guy, what are you really capable of? However, he soon found out. You are very weak. Sun Wukong looked obviously disappointed. This instantly made Burrows' one eye full of bloodshot. In order to prevent the battle from ending too quickly, I can fight you with only one finger. Sun Wukong suddenly stretched out his right index finger and held it in front of him. As soon as these words came out, it's not just Poros, even the group members were stunned. Is this so arrogant? Only Nuolin knows. Sun Wukong is not arrogant, but I really feel that way blood demon. This new guy is so floating. Yuuki Asuna fighting Burrows with just one finger, really? Isn't that a bit too arrogant? Deadpool, the newbies probably don't know how powerful Boss Burrows is. The potcut leader. This uncle doesn't look special, but what he said is really surprising. Maybe it really works. Although Burrows is in the group, lost to Nuolin, but it doesn't mean that he is weak in the eyes of others, on the contrary. The entire chat group, currently except Nuolin, that is, Burrows is the strongest, so everyone felt a little bit unbelievable and helpless about what Sun Wukong said. You're definitely going to get beaten. In fact, Burrows was indeed a little angry. I will make you pay the price for looking down on me. Burrows narrowed his eyes and said so. Ah. All I heard was a roar from him, the muscles on the body swell. The energy surged, instantly breaking the armor. The blue upper body with some black lines is revealed. Boom, a terrifying burst of energy. A blue light bloomed with Burrows as the center. The air is surging. All the surrounding trees, flowers, grass, and other things were blown away. Sun Wukong's martial arts uniform was also rustling in the wind, and his hair swayed slightly. But he didn't care at all, scratched his head. It's very ordinary. A little disappointed. Not as good as Frieza. Starting from Burrow's chest, the rich and terrifying energy quickly spread throughout his body. As the energy quickly spread, the ordinary muscles on Burrow's body turned into dark blue like armor. The spine behind him protrudes slightly. Obviously, Burrows could feel that Sun Wukong was not simple. So he skipped the state of being suppressed by the armor and the normal state of taking off the armor at the beginning. It is a direct liberation of energy, ferocious and terrifying. It's actually a long story, but it only took a few seconds for Burrows to release all his energy. Ah. It seems that he can't release his full strength without roaring. Burrows roared and stomped his foot on the ground. The ground exploded instantly. The whole person turned into a purple light and flew out like a cannonball. In an instant, he crossed a distance of dozens of meters and punched Sun Wukong. Facing Burrow's fist, Sun Wukong remained calm, just like he promised at the beginning. Only one finger was extended, it was easily blocked. Bang, feeling that his attack was blocked, Burrow's pupils shrank slightly. But soon he roared again. His hands turned into two white rays of light. A dazzling series of attacks that are difficult for the naked eye to capture began. Bang, 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 bang. However, facing this attack, one punch and one kick could easily destroy a city. Sun Wukong put his left hand behind his back, as if he was taking a leisurely stroll in the garden. It's just a finger, but it creates the effect of a protective shield with no blind spots. No matter how tricky or unexpected the attack was, he could easily block it. Both the defense and reaction speed were far beyond Burrose's imagination. Just a tap of the toes can instantly send you back several miles. Burrose continued to advance relentlessly. But facing a pervert like Sun Wukong, no matter what kind of attack it was, it could only be easily blocked by the finger he stretched out. The blood gradually climbed up to Burrose's single eye. Blip, blip. Sun Wukong kept retreating, and Burrose kept following up with his attacks. The aftermath of the battle between the two quickly spread to the entire surface of the planet. On land, in the sea, in the desert, there are traces of the two people. Between a punch and a kick, the roar and the sound of fists hitting flesh continued to ring out. It would be useless even if all of Burrose's attacks were blocked by Sun Wukong with just one finger. The aftermath of the leak alone destroyed all the animals, plants, and environment in the areas where the two passed. The mountain was blown up. The sea water evaporated and boiled due to the terrifying energy. The desert sand is flying all over the sky like a tornado. The originally quiet and peaceful planet seemed to have been washed away in an instant, leaving only one huge crater after another, and it was a devastating sight. Definitely their fight is more than that, and often go up to the sky. Burrose cannot fly but can reach near the atmosphere with his jumping power alone. Actually, it's not quite right to call it a battle, because Sun Wukong always used only one finger to block Burrose's attack. On the contrary, Burrose looked a little embarrassed because of the recoil caused by attacking Sun Wukong. No, we can't delay this any longer. Lost to New Orleans. I can't lose to this new guy again. Burrose's one eye was already full of bloodshot. His eyes turned slightly and he quickly made up his mind. He retreated several miles in an instant. Burrose roared, "Jump up," jumped above Sun Wukong's head. Ah! Burrose roared madly, clenching his fists. Boom! A blue light suddenly condensed and rushed into the sky like a pillar of light. Bang! The large amounts of energy in the body turned into huge amounts of energy beam attacks, gushing out from the chest. Coming in an instant, the energy beam buried Sun Wukong's figure and spread out. Wherever it passed, it was invincible, and it actually blasted a bottomless chasm on the ground with a diameter of tens of kilometers. The smoke is everywhere. Everyone in the audience was voicing their excitement and wonder at the performance. Blood Demon, wow, it seems that we have been judging others by our own standards. This newcomer is not simple. He can actually fight Burrose for such a long time with just one finger. Yuoki Asuna. I didn't expect that the newcomer who looks dumb is actually so strong. Yuuki Asuna, blushing, just pretend I didn't say anything just now. A newbie does have the capital to say such things. Deadpool. SHH, these two seem to be stronger than many mutants. I wonder if they can kill me with one punch. Nezuko, ghosts and such are just paramecium in their eyes. Everyone's thinking has quietly changed, just at the beginning. I do feel that Sun Wukong is a little bit floating. He actually wanted to fight Burrose or use one finger. It's too outrageous and exaggerated. But now the shocking facts are before our eyes. He is telling the truth. He was really fighting Burrose with just one finger. Everyone recalled the solemn promise they had just made. They all seemed a little awkward. All I can say is that there are indeed hidden dragons and crouching tigers in this world. Blip, blip. Inside the arena, Burrose fell from the air, his eyes fixed on the target. Did I defeat my opponent? It seems like a foul. I'm sorry, Burrose. However, things are obviously not that simple. A slightly helpless and apologetic voice was heard. At the bottom of the pit, Sun Wukong clenched his fists and exploded with anger. A white aura rose into the sky, blow away all the smoke, and instantly swept to the planet under our feet. With him as the center, the entire planet was stirred up by a Force 12 gale at that moment. The sky shook, the earth trembled, mountains collapsed, and tsunamis occurred. It was like a natural disaster. The whole planet is shaking because of this. Just a breath of air and the planet is already on the verge of collapse. Burrose, who was a little closer to Sun Wukong, had bloodshot eyes and looked like he was about to be crushed. Fortunately, Sun Wukong's outburst only lasted for a moment. After all, he just wanted to disperse the smoke. Otherwise, you will be continuously and unprotectedly crushed by his unreserved aura. Not only Burrose, the entire planet will be blown to pieces. The smoke cleared. Naturally, the figure of Sun Wukong was revealed. Don't say he's injured. The clothes on his body are still the same as when he first started, brand new. I broke the rules, I lose this time. Looking at Burrows lying there motionless, Sun Wukong put his hands on his hips and naturally announced his failure, because he said that he only used one finger from beginning to end. Just now I was attacked by Burrows' energy cannon. He definitely won't get hurt. However, he still involuntarily raised a protective shield in front of his body. This made him feel a little embarrassed, so I thought about just giving in. Winning or losing is not that important to him. As long as it can benefit me in battle, that's fine. Neo Lin looked at the content in the live broadcast room. He made a sound of sigh as soon as these words came out. Can Burrows agree? What a joke. After all, he is the overlord of the universe. There is still some pride. It's like praying for victory. Give it to Burrows, but Burrows doesn't want it. What? No, really? Just when Sun Wukong was about to leave the virtual arena, Burrows struggled to get up from the ground and spoke. I know I lost anyway. Don't make excuses for me. Please let me lose happily. Look at what is in front of you and accumulate energy again. Burrows wants to use his ultimate move. Sun Wukong's performance was a bit difficult. Ah, if that's the case. Oh well, as a warrior. He could actually understand Burrows' thoughts. But at the beginning, I had already agreed on one finger, just one finger. Be prepared to take my first attack. He leaped up with such speed that he flew into the air as if he had teleported. Then extend your right index finger as usual. Watch it. My attack is coming. A gas bomb quickly condensed at the fingertips of his right hand. Then snap your fingers, call out. The gas bullet instantly shot towards the planet. That's right, the target is the planet, not Burrows, but Burrows still glared and fought back. The gas bomb starts from a little bit at the beginning. Gradually it becomes larger rapidly during the shooting process. 100 meters. KMs. 10,000 meters. 100,000 meters. The light shone so brightly that most of the planet was shrouded in the aura, becoming extremely dark and gray, even temporarily overshadowing the fixed star. Boom. Burrows stopped hesitating, clenched his fists, and a purple energy wave swept around him. The terrifying energy burst out. This light should have been extremely dazzling. Enjoy the glory of being the center of attention. But there was the still expanding gas bomb and the golden light it emitted. The energy emitted by Burrows seems very pitiful, like an ant, but Burrows didn't care. The armor on his body, which was originally in a state of energy release, was gradually rendered pale by the energy. Boom, crashing star, roaring cannon. The air waves surged. The temperature is already unimaginably high. If it were on Earth, it would be enough to vaporize all matter on Earth. Burrows roared. The whole person jumped up suddenly. The star-breaking roaring cannon suddenly blasted out from the chest, point directly at the gas bomb and go head-on, like a brave warrior who is not afraid of life and death. However, all this is like an ant trying to resist a boulder. Unrealistic, Burrows couldn't even slightly block the speed of the air bullet. Not even a scream was uttered. He was with his tiny collapsing star-roaring cannon. The moment it came into contact with the huge gas bomb, it was turned into powder. The gas bomb continued to bombard the planet with its momentum undiminished. Viewed from outer space, Burrows' resistance did not have any positive effect, and the gas bomb hit the center of the planet. The aftermath is visible to the naked eye in outer space. Dense cracks first appeared on the surface of the planet that was attacked by the gas bomb, and dazzling dark purple light emanated from the cracks. Then, it suddenly exploded. Countless cities and even provinces and cities' file-size rocks were blown apart and completely turned into space junk. Boom! The planet-level airwaves instantly swept to several other smaller planets, causing them to tremble. This is the art of explosion. If Daedara were in the group, he would definitely like it. Nuo Lin thought without changing his expression. The battle finally ended at this point. Anyone with a discerning eye knows who won, and it was a complete crushing victory. Fail. In the space battleship, Burrows seemed to have just woken up from a dream, as if he had just come back to his senses from suffocation, and he kept gasping for breath. His eyes were filled with grayness, he didn't even take one move, and he lost. What a ridiculous battle. Burrows has been longing for a good battle in which he can give his all. It's not like this. What he wants is a 50-50 fight, where they fight each other until their blood boils. In the end, no matter whether you live or die, win or lose, you will feel great. And what about fighting against Sun Wukong? From beginning to end, Sun Wukong was just using one finger for passive defense, and not even a hair of him could be hurt. He was clearly blocked. Burrows even suspected that even if he hit Sun Wukong, it would be just scraping. After all, if one finger can be used to ignore his attacks, there is no reason why other parts of the body cannot be used. Later, the only move he made was to kill him instantly, reduced to ashes. That endless despair and powerlessness, it has nothing to do with passionate battles. This is the second time. This is the second time. The last time I felt this way was when I was facing Niu Lin. Burroughs smiled bitterly. He suddenly felt like a joker, obviously so weak, but he still boasted that he would challenge the masters from all over the world. There weren't many challenges in total, counting Pava and Shijikageyama, only 4 times. He lost twice. Yuki Asuna, Yuki Asuna, the planet exploded. Is there something wrong with my eyes? Am I seeing things? Gambling maniac, no, you are not mistaken, I saw it too. Gambling maniacs. A good planet is gone just like that. Blood Demon hiss, this new guy is too strong. Deadpool, this super powerful star is so terrifying. The boss is so handsome and so strong. Please hold my thigh tilde tilde tilde. Niu Lin smiled but said nothing. Exploding star, this is for Sun Wukong, it's almost as difficult as eating and drinking water. Super Saiyan, I'm not that great. There are always people who are better than you and I'm just an average person. I'm not a big shot. Yuki Asuna boss, don't be so modest. This kind of strength ranks among the best in our Wanji chat group. Gambling maniacs. What do you mean by ranking high? I feel like I can compete with Niu Lin for the first place. Niu Lin hee too lazy to spray. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. At Universe Overlord, how do you feel, Burroughs? The Overlord of the Universe. The universe is so vast and there are countless powerful people. I am too arrogant. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Are you behaving yourself now? The Lord of the Universe, be honest. Burroughs' mood can be summed up in one sentence. I'm already honest, please let me go. Super Saiyan, wait a minute, who is Niu Lin? Is he stronger than that guy just now? Yuki Asuna, that's definitely true. Gambling maniac, much better than him. Super Saiyan, will you fight me? Marvel's strongest elementary school student, not interested. Super Saiyan. Okay, excuse me. In fact, Sun Wukong was not very interested. After all, Burroughs is indeed weak. It made him a little disappointed. I don't believe so much that there are strong people in the Wanji chat group. The Overlord of the Universe. At Super Saiyan, I am curious, however, from your perspective, can my strength compete with the Emperor of the Universe in your world? Super Saiyan, let me think. Super Saiyan M. I don't know how to put it, he can do what I just did, and it's as easy as it is for me. Seeing what Burroughs said, Niu Lin almost laughed out loud. Compete with each other, forget it. The strongest state of the universe, Emperor Frieza, Golden Frieza, but it can be compared with Super Blue. As for Burroughs, at best he is just a super surface exploding star. The former blew a breath. The latter is estimated to die 80,000 times. He couldn't even get past Frieza's level 1. The move that Sun Wukong just used, it was similar to Frieza exploding planet Vegeta. However, ignorance is not a crime. The Overlord of the Universe. Sure enough, one universe cannot be compared with another. The Overlord of the Universe. But now I am very curious what will happen if you fight Niu Lin. Burroughs' current situation is very much like an ant that cannot tell whether an elephant is bigger or a rhinoceros. Because for him, they are all very big, so big that they are unfathomable. Therefore, there is naturally no way to know which one is stronger or weaker. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Why are you fanning the flames? I've always said that I'm not interested in fighting or not. How old are you kids? Yuki Asuna hiss. Although what you said makes sense, it always feels weird coming from Niu Lin's mouth. Gambling maniacs. After all, Niu Lin seems to be only a dozen days old. This is how a 10-day-old baby was preached. It's really strange. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Marvel's strongest elementary school student. Age is not the point but the mind. Do you understand the mind? The other side, watching everything that happened in the Wanji chat group. As another person who joined the group like the Super Saiyan, my super ability is money. Currently living in his own luxurious villa, watching the scene after scene in front of me in shock. I originally thought it was the work of aliens. I didn't expect it to be true. As a very rigorous person, my super ability is to be rich. At first I didn't believe in the existence of the Wanji chat group. Even if I saw the explanation, he didn't believe it either. Therefore, my super ability is to be rich never popped up. Because one wrong step leads to all the wrong steps. This led to problems later, until the scenes just now appeared before him. This made him believe that the Wanji chat group was real, rather than what the aliens who controlled the illusion did to him. What would happen if these guys showed up in Gotham? My super ability is that I am rich. I was horrified. Blood demons. Where's the newcomer? Where's the newcomer? Where's the other newcomer? Stop looking, come out quickly. Gambling maniac, my super ability is to be rich. This new guy's name is so crazy, how many bets can he afford? Yuoki Suna. SHH, this name can even compare being rich to a super ability. How rich is this? My super ability is to be rich. I should be richer than everyone here. Deadpool. Don't be so crazy, I tell you, the knives I have are very valuable. My super ability is money. Yo, don't be too familiar with this famous quote. Neo Lin knew who the other person was at a glance. Isn't this Batman? A series of Batman memes instantly popped up in Neo Lin's mind. Martha. Your mother's name is also Martha. And no matter which universe it is, Bruce Wayne's parents always have the hellish joke of having a bad time in an alley. Let's not talk about it. I'm afraid Bruce will get angry. Neo Lin thinks that he has some qualities. Don't let this hellish joke come to the person in front of him, then Bruce's mentality will really collapse. My super ability is money. Why is this added to my group name? It's probably because I can use money to research and develop a lot of equipment that is equivalent to having a super ability. Bruce was thinking about this too. Is it really because of this, so that's why he's called this, Marvel's strongest elementary school student? Huh, that's not the case, you will say this yourself in the future. Your super ability is that you have money, so that's why you call it that. My super ability is to be rich. My super ability is to have money. How could I possibly say this, and how do you know the future? Yuoki Asuna. Neo Lin knows a lot of things, so it's not surprising that she knows you. My super ability is to be rich. My super ability is to be rich. What do you mean? Gambling addict, you will know more later. Neo Lin yawned. The Wanji chat group has been temporarily closed. Close your eyes, just fell asleep like that. The next morning, Neo Lin got up early for a rare occasion. Actually, Professor X gave him very lenient rules. Completely different from ordinary mutant students. In other words, he was originally different from these mutant students. It was impossible to treat him the same way as an ordinary mutant student. Only. Neo Lin wants to go out and have some fun. He came to the classroom. The morning is an ordinary cultural class. It's a college after all. It is not really possible to just teach how to control abilities. Rather than teaching knowledge, as a teacher of cultural courses, the Phoenix piano of course. Neo Lin found a seat casually and sat down. Chin is giving a lecture at the podium. He saw the power within the piano. Is this the Phoenix Force? Jean, this name represents unparalleled power and potential danger in the world of X-Men. The power within her originated from the mysterious Phoenix Force. This is a level universe energy powerful enough to reshape stars and destroy the universe. From the original universe, born at the beginning of all things, it is chaos and immortal, an eternal but impermanent existence. Similarly, it is also the embodiment of life and spiritual power in the original universe. It symbolizes life and emotion. It represents almost the connecting point of the spiritual minds of all things that exist or will exist in the infinite multi-universe, and is the creator and source of spiritual power. It is also the storage container and controller of the life and emotional energy of future generations of the entire infinite multi-universe. This power, it is her destiny. It is also her curse, because it's inside Chin's body. Phoenix Force is like an untamed beast. It's powerful, wild, and extremely volatile. The instability of this force. This makes the existence of the piano originally like a huge unstable factor that may explode at any time. Her every mood swing, every inner struggle, all of these may become the fuse for the outbreak of Phoenix Force. It is totally out of Chin's control, although she has powerful telepathy and mind control ability. But when facing Phoenix Force, she still feels overwhelmed. This power surged within her body like an active volcano. It may erupt at any time, bring unforeseen consequences. Earth, in front of Phoenix Force, just a speck of dust. It's really a powerful force. Even if I can't master the zither, it's still surging inside me. However, this Phoenix Force currently poses no threat to Neo Lin. Phoenix Force is stronger. Someone needs to use it too. Otherwise, it's just an empty shell. If it falls on Neo Lin, it can be tamed in minutes. And Chin is in class. I always feel like I'm being watched, but his eyes drifted away, but I still couldn't figure out who it was. Next to Neo Lin, a girl poked Neo Lin. Hello, are you Neo Lin? The nephew of the man who had a fight with John yesterday. Neo Lin glanced at the girl. It's a little rascal. He nodded, yes, it's me, what's wrong? Be careful. The little rascal glanced at John, the fireman who was sitting not far away. It is said that John was very angry yesterday. He even said that since that person left, he would take revenge on you. Hello? Neo Lin said indifferently, come on then. No matter who he is afraid of, he can never be afraid of a little fireman named John. But the little rascal doesn't know that. She said nervously, that guy is very powerful and has a bad temper, you must be careful. Okay, I understand, thank you. Nuo Lin nodded perfunctorily. Oh, you guys. The little rascal sighed, not knowing what to say, but she is not familiar with Nuo Lin either. All we can do is give you a friendly reminder, if the other party doesn't take it seriously. There's nothing we can do about that, and it's just like what the little naughty boy said, get out of class just ended. After Chin left the classroom, the fireman John walked up to Nuo Lin. Are you his nephew? The fireman John stood in front of Nuo Lin, looking down at Nuo Lin who was sitting on the chair. Keep pressing the switch of the lighter in your hand, full of provocation. Nuo Lin glanced at John. Too lazy to care, is super ability also popular? John said, come on, let me see. Roll. Nuo Lin stood up, uttered a word lightly, and was about to leave. John's face darkened when he saw this, and he stood in front of him. You are as annoying as he is, no wonder you are his nephew. Hey, John. The little rascal didn't want to care about it, but seeing John like this. He hurried forward, standing in front of Nuo Lin. What are you doing? John sneered, why, you want to help him, little rascal? No. The little rascal took a deep breath and said, do you still want to fight with a child? I see. John sneered again, I've never seen such an annoying kid. I'm just asking. Just asking, okay, get lost now that you've asked. Nuo Lin rolled his eyes. He really didn't want to quarrel with this little brat. It's a little bit of a loss of face. After saying that, he wanted to leave, however. His words, but it made the fireman John's face become even darker. He once again stood in front of Nuo Lin. Say it again. Nuo Lin was really speechless. This little brat is really endless. He felt like his head was going to explode. Get lost. He said unhappily, you. John at the moment was in a very awkward and difficult situation. His anger almost reached its peak. It felt like my lungs were about to explode with anger. The discussions and teasing looks from his classmates undoubtedly intensified his embarrassment and humiliation. It was as if to say that he was actually bullied by a little kid and had no way to do anything about it. These gazes were like sharp knives piercing into his self-esteem. Faced with such a situation, John was full of contradictions. He wanted to vent his anger, want to solve the problem by taking action, but reason told him that doing so would only make the situation worse. The person opposite was indeed just a little kid. If he really did it, I'm afraid the people around him would instantly change their attitude towards him. You actually hit a child. That's not all. There could be even more serious consequences, like losing my place at Xavier College. This dilemma made John feel extremely anxious. He knew that no matter which path he chose, it would bring him irreparable losses. He has to find a balance between anger and reason. Find one that protects your dignity, a way that won't get you into deeper trouble. This idiot actually has some brains and knows how to analyze the pros and cons. But I guess he must be regretting it now. He shouldn't have come to cause trouble for himself. After all, I never expected that I would have this attitude. I guess they just want to bully and exclude me. Nuo Lin had all of John's mental activities under his control. Haha laughed, okay, get out of the way. He waved his hand again, if you don't get out of the way, I'm going to do it. Take action, you. However, before John could continue speaking, Nuo Lin just waved his finger in an instant. John was directly controlled by psychokinesis, and he broke through the window and fell far down from the second floor, with a plop. It really scared many people. The naughty boy, who had wanted to prevent a conflict between the two, widened his eyes. He looked at Nuo Lin in disbelief. Ah, what's the meaning? The students nearby were also very shocked. This is John the fireman, become a reserve X-Men in the future. Was it so easy to be controlled? Nuo Lin was too lazy to pay attention to them. He just felt that the class was boring, so he left the classroom. Professor X, who had been paying attention to everything going on in Xavier College, also reacted. That child actually had a conflict with Nuo Lin. Professor X has a headache, he rubbed his temple. Beast, let Jean handle this. After all the calculations, throughout Xavier College can compete with Nuo Lin in Professor X's heart, there is only the Phoenix guitar. Beast also understands that Nuo Lin is not simple. He nodded and went to look for the piano, but before the piano, there is another more powerful teacher who is already taking care of this matter. It was Storm, who had just returned from a mission yesterday. Storm first took John to the college infirmary. Then I found Nuo Lin, who was playing games in the dormitory. She frowned and looked at Nuo Lin. Do you know that you have violated the rules of the academy? What rules? Nuo Lin put down the controller in his hand. looked at Storm with a smile and said lightly, "My rules are the rules." Storm's frown deepened. It was the first time she had seen a student who did not admire, fear, or respect her. You know, she is now a member of the X-Men. X-Men are the idols of almost all students in Xavier Academy. I'm telling you one last time. There is no place for fighting at Xavier Academy. At the same time, you destroyed the college facilities. This all needs to be punished. Newlin glanced at Storm and said, "The rules of Xavier College don't apply to me. Let Professor X come over and see if he dares to control me." Kid, do you know what you are talking about? Storm narrowed his eyes. Professor X's presence is crucial to every member of the college. He is not only an educator and mentor, it is also a spiritual pillar. His telepathy ability enables him to understand the inner world of each student and give them personalized care and support. His kindness and wisdom have earned him a special place in the hearts of many mutants, just like a great and kind old father. Give them warmth and guidance. Professor X's philosophy is peaceful coexistence and mutual understanding, and he is committed to promoting harmonious relations between mutants and humans. His vision and hard work have given him an irreplaceable position in the mutant community. Therefore, in mutants' heart, Professor X's status is unparalleled. His image and ideas have been deeply rooted in their hearts, becoming a symbol of their pursuit of peace and justice. In this context, any disrespect or criticism of Professor X would be seen as an offense to the entire Xavier School and the X-Men. Newlin was speechless. Storm, please leave quickly. Speaking of, his arms slowly rose. It's like silently summoning some invisible power, following Newlin's actions. A powerful psychokinesis surged out of his body like a tide, instantly filling the entire space. Storm was standing across from Newlin, her expression changing from frowning to nervous in an instant. What kind of power is this? She was extremely shocked the moment when psychokinesis touched her. Storm felt as if his body was tightly bound by an invisible force, unable to move. Her feet began to move involuntarily, moving out of the dormitory little by little. It's like being led by an invisible hand. Her eyes were wide open, filled with disbelief and anger. The next moment, her eyes were covered by white thunder. Call out, boom, gusts of wind began to rise around the body. There were flashes of lightning and thunder in the wind. She tried to use this to resist the psychokinesis that bound her. Yet, despite Storm's best efforts, her efforts seemed so feeble. She gritted her teeth. But her storms and lightning were like an ant trying to shake a tree in front of Newlin's psychokinesis and could not shake her at all. Her body was still pulled by the invisible force, moving step by step out of the dormitory. Newlin's expression remained calm. His psychokinesis is like an invisible net, trapped Storm firmly in it. There was no sign of wavering in his eyes. All this was within his expectations. His arms were still raised, and psychokinesis constantly flowed from his body. The violent wind and thunder and lightning were still raging around Storm's body. But there was already a hint of despair in her eyes. This power. This child's power is so strong. It seems that even when facing children, I'm going to use all my strength too. Storm's voice echoed through the hallways of Xavier Academy. Her roar was as shocking as thunder. As she spoke, dark clouds in the sky gathered rapidly as if drawn by her emotions. Lightning swirled among the clouds, emitting dazzling white light. A powerful thunder energy gathered in the air. Boom! The next moment, thunder suddenly struck from the sky, heading straight for Xavier College. It was so fast that it pierced through the ceiling of the academy in almost the blink of an eye, hitting Storm hard with destructive force. Bang! The power of thunder is enormous. The entire room was blown to pieces in an instant. Walls, furniture, and floors were destroyed, debris flew everywhere, and smoke and dust filled the air. However, when the smoke gradually cleared, Storm still stood there, motionless, as if the thunder just now was just an illusion. The psychokinesis still clung to her body without any relief. Stop it. Newlin stood aside. The room was in a mess, but he was unharmed and his expression remained calm. He threw the desperate Storm out casually. However, when it was halfway through flying backwards, Storm suddenly stopped as if someone caught it. At this time, a smile appeared on Newlin's face. An interesting person has arrived. Chin supported Storm with a little anger and looked at Newlin at the same time. At the moment, Newlin slowly flew out of her dormitory on the second floor, floating in the air, looking at Jean and Storm below, smile slightly. This is an interesting person. A storm is really not enough to arouse my interest. The students around were deeply shocked by this scene. Their eyes moved back and forth between Jean, Storm, and Newlin. His face was full of disbelief. Storm seemed unharmed though, but her breathing was rapid. His face showed fatigue and alertness. Obviously, this is the performance and state that can only be achieved after exerting great effort. Her eyes were fixed on Newlin. The students' minds were full of questions. That situation just now. Is it really targeted at Newlin? The thought flashed through their minds, then they denied it themselves. In their opinion, Newlin is just an ordinary student. There was nothing unusual about his appearance or behavior. As for Storm, her strength is obvious to all. Having gone through countless battles and solved countless troubles, ability is recognized to be powerful. They are the backbone of the X-Men. Her name is well known in the mutant community. The heroic deeds inspired countless people. Not only is it a symbol of battle, but it is also an idol in the hearts of countless mutants. So, in their hearts, how could Storm be taken down by a little kid? And this kid is even younger than the ones who were originally considered kids by Storm. But the reality is right before our eyes. Storm is indeed controlled by some force. Newlin's calmness and confidence make people have to re-examine this seemingly ordinary student. They began to realize, maybe Newlin is not as simple as they think. Maybe he has some hidden power. Enough to subvert Storm and X-Men. Do you know what you are doing? Chin looked at Newlin and said angrily, on the first day of school, you beat up your classmates and hit your teacher. What's the matter? Newlin spread his hands, shrugged and said, everything happened for a reason. I took action, so what? You are really nasty. Chin stretched out her hand, psychokinesis erupted, and she tried to pull Newlin over. She didn't use much effort. My original intention was just to teach Newlin a lesson. Thinking of killing Newlin, that's impossible. Bad kids need to be taught a lesson. However, when her psychokinesis erupted like a tide, trying to control Newlin, but he found that Newlin was as still as a rock. This scene caused the surrounding wind and clouds to change color, as if the power of the two people clashed in the air, triggering a reaction in nature. Boom, the storm is coming. The two people's hair was flying in the wind, which looked particularly fierce. Chin's expression became more and more incredible. No wonder Storm was turned into this. She gritted her teeth. It seems that I can no longer hide my shortcomings. I was originally thinking whether I should be gentler when dealing with children. Clearly, she was already using her psychokinesis at full strength. Trying to break through Newlin's defense, I didn't use that power. You can't shake me at all. However, Newlin's expression remained calm. It seemed like all this was just a piece of cake for him. There was no panic in his eyes, and with his arms folded across his chest, he looked aloof and confident. The body is under the impact of Chin's psychokinesis, still as stable as a rock. There was no sign of movement. This contest of power made everyone watch with bated breath. Teacher Chin. And that new classmates. The little rascal came later. He looked at the scene in front of him in shock, almost out of breath. Newlin can even compete with Teacher Chin, and Newlin's indifference and Chin's determination formed a sharp contrast. It's obvious, Newlin is very relaxed, but Chin used all her strength. The power of the two people intertwined in the air, forming a shocking picture. Impossible, this child's power is so strong. Chin's teeth are about to break. Sure enough, there is no Phoenix Force piano. That's all. Newlin shook his head. Jean panted lightly. She barely activated psychokinesis with her left hand, trying to control Newlin on a physical level. And he quickly pressed his right hand on his temple to focus his attention. Her eyes were fixed on Newlin. Mental power suddenly exploded, trying to directly impact the opponent's mind. This is a more direct and in-depth attack, trying to break down Newlin's defenses mentally. However, she miscalculated. Just when Chin's mental power was about to touch Newlin didn't even look at Chin, unfazed by her attack. The autonomous protection mechanism of mental power was activated instantly, rushing back like a tide and rushing into Chin's mind. Just at that moment, Chin's mental strength suffered an unprecedented impact. Buzz, her mental strength, it was like an impregnable fortress, but at this moment it was like an ant colliding with the universe. Small and powerless. It's almost like a collision between ants and gods. This metaphor couldn't be more apt. Chin's mental strength seemed so fragile at this moment, it's like just a thin layer of paper. It was easily torn apart by Newlin's mental protection mechanism. In Chin's mind, the originally clear thoughts became confused. Her memory, her emotions, her sanity. At this moment, everything was washed away to pieces. Her spiritual world, it was as if I had experienced a violent storm. Everything was becoming shaky. A look of pain appeared on Chin's face. Her lips trembled slightly, seems to be shouting silently. The body begins to lose balance involuntarily. Psychokinesis can't hold up either. He staggered a few steps. It seems like I might fall at any time. It was Storm, who had just caught his breath, who quickly supported her. This prevented her from falling to the ground. Chin, Chin, Chin. Storm shouted anxiously. However, this did not stop Chin's eyes from quickly becoming unfocused. My eyes quickly lost focus. The soul was pulled out of the body at this moment. The mental strength collapsed under the impact of Nuo Lin, dissipating bit by bit in the universe. Her consciousness gradually began to blur. No, why would you come here to do something when you have nothing to do? Nuo Lin looked at Chin speechlessly. Wouldn't it be better to just use psychokinesis? I don't want to use telepathy to control myself. That's better. It's over, right? His mental power is vaster than the ocean of the universe. The waves that are raised casually, enough to overturn the entire Earth. Chin is really overestimating her own abilities. The situation here can be described as quite dynamic. Many students and teachers gathered around, the most anxious among them. Naturally, it's Cyclops who likes piano. The moment Cyclops saw Chin falling to the ground and Nuo Lin flying in the air, the whole person was furious. He roared in rage, "You are the one who made Chin like this, right?" Chin, Chin. Cyclops holding the harp. However, Chin did not react at all. The whole person is like a vegetable. This instantly made Cyclops furious. Chin is dead. I'm going to make you pay. The device specifically used to control his powerful ability. At this moment, Cyclops directly lifted the maximum limit. Boom. Booms. In an instant, two terrifying red laser beams suddenly burst out. They are like two fire dragons, with the momentum to destroy everything. Break through the sky, shooting towards Nuo Lin, they cut through the sky, leaving behind a trail of fiery tracks. It seemed as if the whole world was going to burn down. Nuo Lin is suspended in the air, facing this sudden attack. His expression remained calm. There was no trace of panic in his eyes, there is only indifference. Take action, Cyclops is usually very rational, but when it comes to things like the piano, he is almost the same as Keokshung. These two Cyclops were almost aimed at taking his life. In that case, don't blame me for being ruthless. Nuo Lin's eyes were indifferent, facing the incoming Cyclops beam. He remains as steady as a rock. There was no sign of movement. The speed of the laser beam is extremely fast. Almost in the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Nuo Lin. Their power is enough to destroy all obstacles standing in the way. An erupting Cyclops can easily destroy a street and can even go straight through an entire city. However, just as the two beams of light were about to touch Nuo Lin, an invisible barrier suddenly appeared around his body. Wrap him completely in it. This barrier is made of pure energy. It emits a faint light, completely isolate the power of the laser beam. The laser beam hits the barrier. There were bursts of harsh noises. It was like metal rubbing against each other. It was like a flame burning. However, no matter how the laser beam hits, the barrier didn't move at all. It seems like an indestructible wall. Protect Nuo Lin firmly in it. He had a blank expression on his face and snapped his fingers. In an instant, the barrier seemed to come alive. Just at that moment, Nuo Lin's energy barrier demonstrated an amazing counterattack ability. It is no longer a passive defense, but take the initiative like a huge amounts of net. The red laser beam fired by Cyclops was pushed back forcefully. The force was powerful and precise. The beam bounced directly onto Cyclops' eyes, forming an impenetrable energy barrier. Buzz. Boom. What's this? What's this? Cyclops stood up suddenly, staggering forward. At this moment, I felt unprecedented panic. His eyes were trapped by his own laser beam. That energy barrier was like an indestructible cage, completely block his vision. Impossible. What kind of power is this? This is impossible. He began to pick at his face frantically. Try to tear open the barrier with your bare hands. But no matter how hard he tried, the energy barrier didn't move at all. It seemed to have merged into one with his eyes, cannot be separated. As a variant, the ability is completely focused on the eyes of the mutant. Cyclops felt more helpless than ever before. His ability is trapped by his own attack. The sight is completely taken away. The world fell into darkness. He now, in addition to having better physical fitness than ordinary people. There is hardly any difference. His strength, his confidence, his pride. At this moment they were completely defeated. Cyclops' struggle seemed so feeble. His movements became increasingly frantic. His breathing became more and more rapid. His heartbeat became increasingly tense. There was a look of pain and despair on his face. The body began to tremble. It seems like it could collapse at any time. Impossible, this is impossible. Cyclops looked like he was going crazy. Nuo Lin chuckled. He was simply putting a seal on this guy without his permission. It is impossible to unravel than just killing Cyclops directly. He felt that this method would be a better way to torture the arrogant X-Men. The students around witnessed it all. Their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. In their perception, X-Men is a symbol of strength and an invincible existence. However, in this short period of time, Newlin actually defeated 3 X-Men members in succession: Storm, Jean, and Cyclops. In their view, this is something that is simply impossible to happen in the world. Newlin. Countless people looked at Newlin. I didn't know who it was from the beginning. It turned into fear. People are naturally afraid of powerful individuals. This is unavoidable. And at the moment, Beast and the Professor finally got here. See the situation in front of you. Professor X almost fainted. The unconscious Jean, the exhausted Storm, and the sealed-eyed Cyclops who was kneeling on the ground digging his teeth, and Newlin flying in the air. Professor X just used his telepathy ability to pass by. Just know what happened, Professor. The students saw Professor X coming. It's like everyone has a backbone. Kids, get out of here. Professor X suppressed his thoughts and spoke gently to the students next to him. These students are under his telepathy. I calmed down involuntarily, then leave here quickly, after a while. Only Newlin and a few others are left here. I was just looking for someone to handle this matter. Why did it develop into this? Professor X sighed deeply, as someone who has felt the power of Newlin. He didn't want to conflict with Newlin, not at all, but now a conflict has arisen, but there is no way. Newlin, I'm clear about this matter. Professor X looked at Newlin and said helplessly, they were indeed impulsive, but you were also wrong in this matter, so let's both take a step back and stop here, okay? Restore the piano, okay, and Cyclops. His good-natured character still prevents him from making the most correct decision, but his last tone was filled with a sigh. It's a prayer. Newlin glanced at Professor X and said coldly, they deserved it. I don't think I did anything wrong in this matter. I just wanted to experience the course, but I was provoked. Storm came up to ask for accountability without caring. After I drove him away, Jin came. Jin attacked me, but my self-protection mechanism fought back. Then it was Cyclops' turn. Is this what you X-Men are like? Coming up one after another's. He has no fears. If Professor X in front of him wanted him to do something, then he doesn't mind fighting against the entire X-Men on his own. As soon as these words came out, Storm, Beast, and Professor X, the 3 X-Men who still have their own thoughts, are all numb. Especially Storm. She seemed to want to say something. Storm undoubtedly wanted to speak, but he was stopped by Professor X. He shook his head silently. Since Newlin doesn't want to, then he won't force it. But we can't just give up on Jean and Cyclops like this, right? Storm is actually okay. Although he was the first X-Men member to face Newlin, but the injuries were minimal. Oh no, it's not even an injury. Just a little tired, that's all. Because he tried to break free from Newlin's restraints, he used too much force and became exhausted. What? Storm glared at Newlin fiercely. The look was very unfriendly. Seems to be talking to him. If anything happened to Jean and Cyclops, she would make him pay. Newlin sneered. I'm not happy with the way you look. Speaking of, Newlin flicked her fingers lightly. A burst of energy rushed into the sky like a wild horse. In an instant, countless dark clouds began to gather, gathering into a huge amounts of vortex. Boom, boom, the sky turned gloomy. The sky is overcast. Energy roils in the clouds, like a dragon soaring in the sky, emitting dazzling light. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning fell from the sky. It was like the roar of God, making huge amounts of sound. Stop. Newlin. Stop. Professor X quickly tried to stop it. Pity. Newlin just glanced at Professor X. Some people bring it upon themselves. It's done, you can't stop her from suffering. I do what I want, booms. Storm didn't even react. The thunder struck her hard. Like a violent storm, it instantly submerged her. His body instantly turned charred and his hair turned into an afro. I couldn't help but open my mouth. Wisps of green smoke floated up into the sky. Storm's eyes were filled with unspeakable meaning. Is this thunder? Is this a storm? Newlin actually has this ability. She finally understood how those who were hit by her thunder felt. This thought came together. Storm fell to the ground and passed out. There was still burnt smoke coming out of his body. Professor X was terribly frightened. I quickly apologized for her. I'm sorry, Newlin, we were wrong about this matter. They were wrong and I was also wrong. Okay, I'm too lazy to listen to you. She is not dead and she cannot die. Newlin has never liked nice guys. I should be decisive, but I am not decisive either. What should I do? I haven't done anything. It can be said that neither side is pleased. It's fine when we get along normally. Once you are indecisive on big issues, problems are likely to arise. Professor X has also done a lot of bad things in this regard. Thank you. Professor X certainly didn't feel that Storm was dead. After a sigh of relief, faced with this situation, I really don't know what to do. The unconscious Gene, the unconscious Storm, the eye-digging Cyclops, the speechless Beast, and the humbled Self look around. Finally, he turned his gaze to Chin. After all, Chin is the one who is currently the most seriously injured. Chin. Professor X tried to use telepathy to assist Chin. However, he could only feel that Chin's last bit of consciousness could be extinguished at any time like a candle in the wind. No. Professor X's expression suddenly changed. He must maintain this last bit of consciousness. Otherwise, what's the difference between Chin and death? However, his ability cannot be protected at all. I could only watch Chin's consciousness completely. No, in the next second. Professor X's eyes widened just when Chin was about to die completely. An indescribable powerful force suddenly erupted from his body. This force is like a volcanic eruption. It swept across the entire space in an instant. Around her, the symbol of the phoenix began to linger, represents endless power and rebirth. The phoenix spun around Chin, emitting a dazzling light, and the sky began to darken. The entire Earth, no, the entire galaxy, even the entire universe began to tremble. Under this force, the space cracked into pieces, like cracks in glass, as if they were going to swallow up the entire world. This force is like a violent storm, instantly pushed Cyclops and Storm away. Their bodies tumbled in the air, dizzy from the impact. Nuo Lin, who had already felt bored, also widened his eyes like Professor X. Phoenix Force, the moment I saw Chin Phoenix Force awakening. Nuo Lin directly chose to open the live broadcast room. Phoenix Force, this is Phoenix Force, shouldn't we record it? The live broadcast room has a screen recording function, and after uploading it to the Wanji chat group, it can be saved forever. All Worlds chat group. There is no such thing as memory, keep it for as long as you want. Blip, blip. Ding, group member Marvel's strongest elementary school student starts live streaming. Universe Overlord enter the live broadcast room. Deadpool enter the live studio. Pot-covered leader enter the live broadcast room. Yuuki Asuna enter the live broadcast room. Gambling maniac enter the live broadcast room. Blip, blip. Yuuki Asuna. Meow. Gambling maniac, why did they suddenly start live streaming? Did something happen? New Lin saw Matilda. The overlord of the universe. What is this picture? The space is shattered. Who is that woman? Everyone in the Wanji chat group hasn't reacted yet. I saw the scene in the live broadcast room. The piano is suspended in the air. Her long hair flew around involuntarily because of the strong wind. His eyes were closed and he seemed unconscious. Let the power in your body continue to explode around you. The power is like a volcanic eruption. It swept across the entire space in an instant. Space began to distort. It shattered like shards of glass. Click, click, click. Cracks spread across the air, emitting dazzling light. It seemed to swallow up the whole world. Phoenix Force is like a violent storm. The surrounding air was torn apart in an instant. The cracks are getting bigger and bigger, getting deeper and deeper. Not good. Professor X roared in despair. That's the Phoenix Force inside the piano. Charles' heart was filled with shock and anxiety. If you want to talk about the person who knows Chin best in the world, it has to be Professor X. He discovered the extraordinary power in Chin when she was very young and brought her to Xavier College. He knew that the power within the piano was extraordinary. It is an ancient and powerful existence. This power is like the hottest fixed star in the universe, brilliant and dangerous. Professor X does not fully understand the nature of Phoenix Force, but he knew that once this power was stimulated, its destructive power is enough to make the stars tremble and change the color of the universe. And now, as Chin's life flame seemed to be about to be extinguished, this power in her body began to erupt uncontrollably. The power was like the most violent black hole in the universe, swallowing up everything and trying to pull Chin back from the brink of death. Professor X at the moment felt Jean's pain. His soul was closely connected to the piano and he could feel the violence of that power. Beast held onto Professor X's wheelchair and looked at the scene in shock. Professor, what happened? Why did Jean suddenly fly? Professor X didn't say anything, just trying to stop what was about to happen. Only Nuo Lin, faced with the violent Phoenix Force, there was still a smile on his face. Blip, blip. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from the space crack. It was as if broken pieces of glass had fallen to the ground. The sound was clear and loud. A space tunnel appeared in the crack. The space tunnel radiates dazzling light as if it is a road leading to an unknown world. The light was like a violent storm. It was you who almost killed me. Chin slowly opened her eyes. Both eyes were covered with fiery red energy. The voice was cold and distant, as if from another world. There was no anger in her tone, only a deep indifference. Those eyes no longer belonged to her, but were controlled by the ancient and powerful Phoenix Force. She raised her hand slowly. Not a word more. An invisible force rushed towards New Olin like a violent storm. Wherever Phoenix Force goes, the space seemed to be torn apart. There was a heart-pounding sound of collapse. New Olin is flying in the air. He still had a smile on his face. That's interesting. What were the previous battles? Compared to Phoenix Force, they are all weaker than ants. Facing Chin's attack, he was not at all flustered. Nuolin also raised his hand. The invisible force hit Nuolin in front of him. There was a deafening roar. Boom. This force did not dissipate. Instead, it instantly blasted towards the buildings behind Nuolin from both sides. In the blink of an eye, the sturdy building collapsed under the impact of this force, like a fragile piece of paper. It turned directly into ashes and disappeared into the air. Professor X's pupils suddenly shrank. At the moment, most of the Xavier College building was gray, and it looked very scary. Fortunately, most students are out playing at this time. Some of those who stay in the college basically stay in their own dormitories. It was not the dormitory building that was attacked, so there were no casualties. No, if this continues, Xavier, no, even the Earth will suffer. Professor X quickly began to use his ability, want to guide Chin. His telepathy ability allowed him to feel Jean's inner turmoil and pain. He knew that Chin at this moment was no longer the girl he was familiar with. She was controlled by the Phoenix Force, and her mind was twisted by this power. Professor X was filled with worry. He knew that if he didn't find a way to help Jean regain her self-esteem soon, she might lose her humanity forever. The consequences are disastrous. No, it's still not strong enough. However, this kind of attack, but Nuo Lin was a little disappointed. Phoenix Force hasn't been fully used yet. That's so boring. Just when the Phoenix Force was about to swallow Nuo Lin, exert force suddenly. A powerful energy surged in the palm of his hand. This energy was like a bright 973 star, instantly forcing Phoenix Force back. The originally extremely violent force under Nuo Lin's control was like a tamed beast. It suddenly changed direction and hit Chin fiercely. Boom. In an instant, the piano was like being hit by a huge hammer and flew high into the air. Her figure drew a long arc in the air, flying backwards for thousands of meters. It crashed heavily into a large lake. There were splashes of water more than 10 feet high. Hualala. The ripples on the lake spread out like waves, breaking the original tranquility. Chin. Professor X and Beast were both very worried. Nuo Lin glanced at the two of them and said, "Wait here." After saying this, he instantly flew over the lake. On the lake that has returned to tranquility. The originally calm water surface suddenly became restless again. The water in the center of the lake began to boil. It seems as if there is an invisible force brewing deep inside. Soon, rolling waves appeared on the water surface, and the waves were turbulent, spreading in all directions one after another. Nuo Lin watched this scene silently. His eyes peered through the lake, staring at the bottom. Sudden, in the next second, the water in the middle of the lake burst with a roar. A figure flew out from it. That's Chin. Countless splashes of water were sent flying into the sky by her power. These water splashes bloom in the air. They roll and jump in the air as gorgeous as fireworks. They sparkle with crystal light under the sunlight. It is breathtakingly beautiful. She hovered steadily in the air, facing Nuo Lin from a distance. The two people's eyes met in the air. Chin's gaze was still as ruthless and indifferent as ever. Even when she was attacked, she remained the same. Swish. Nuo Lin disappeared instantly. When he appeared again, he was already behind Chin. Nuo Lin gathered a burst of energy in his right hand and punched out fiercely. Bang! The fist burst out with a strong energy light on Chin's face, instantly shattering the surrounding space. This time, Chin had no way of reacting. I can only passively use Phoenix Force to endure it. Bang! Chin was hit by this punch. He was blown away again for dozens of kilometers and flew directly to Wilderness Ridge near Xavier College. Smashed hard on a mountain. A big hole was knocked out on the top of the mountain. Chin, who originally looked very handsome, now became dusty and a little disheveled. Let's do it again. Nuo Lin's excited voice rang in my ears. Phoenix Force. Chin didn't care that she was a little dirty. Fly out of the hole immediately, shout loudly, open hands. Boom, boom. The terrifying and huge psychokinesis instantly spread out in all directions like a big net. Reaching an altitude of 10,000 meters. Thousands of meters deep underground. The ground was buzzing and shaking like an earthquake. Crash. In the blink of an eye, he used psychokinesis to forcibly pull up two mountains with an altitude of 1,000 meters from the ground, revealing the abyss below. The gravel and Saxol fell. They all attacked Nuo Lin. At the moment, Nuo Lin was like the filling of a big pancake sandwiched in the middle. Gambling maniac, so why did they fight? Deadpool, wow, awesome. No matter what, this kind of fight is so exciting to watch, even better than the movies. Yuuki Asuna, this sister is so strong. The overlord of the universe, what a great battle. Super Saiyan. I want to join ins. This was a battle that had already gone beyond their imagination. Although the destructive power is not as intuitive and shocking as in previous battles, but this battle was on a completely different level. It touches upon the essence of space. It almost touched the boundaries of their cognition. Space, a stable and solid existence in daily life, but he became vulnerable in this battle. Every fight, every collision of power. It was like a heavy hammer hitting glass. The space was shattered, the cracks spread like a spider web. This kind of scene, for everyone in the group it was an unprecedented shock. They remember the last battle between Burose and Sun Wukong. Although it was extremely intense, but the space always remains intact. That battle was a contest of strength and speed, a collision of skill and will, but the space was originally not substantially affected. But at this moment this battle is different. It is not just a confrontation but also a challenge to the laws of space. Nuo Lin just waved his hand back. There were no surprises. A dazzling white light flashed. A loud explosion sounded. Dust is flying. It's like a different kind of firework. The mountain was blasted into pieces of rubble that scattered in all directions. Bang, boom, gambling maniac, hiss. Yuoki Asuna. Hiss tilde. Another big mountain hit him hard. However, it was like hitting the hardest object in the world. It broke into pieces and fell to the ground. Nuo Lin opened his hands and terrifying energy burst out from his body. It is a power beyond the comprehension of ordinary people. It is not just a physical impact, but also a direct destruction to the space structure. With the burst of energy, the space began to shatter into pieces. Space debris flew everywhere like glass. These fragments are under the control of Nuo Lin. It didn't lose control. Nuo Lin's hands kept tightening. The space fragments were quickly gathered by him, immediately following. The blood condensed into a sword several meters long. This long sword is made of space debris, and every inch of it flashes with dangerous light, contains the power to tear everything apart. In an instant, Nuo Lin threw out the sword. Wherever the sword passed, the space was torn apart, leaving a long crack. That crack was like an abyss, constantly swallowing up everything around it. Qin quickly raised her hand and Phoenix Force gushed out. Boom. The moment the two collide, half the Earth's sky was torn apart. The cracks in the sky burst out as densely as a spider web. Countless people raised their heads. He looked at the wonder in the sky in horror, his eyes filled with fear and anxiety. Is the end of the world coming? This question echoes in everyone's heart. They couldn't believe what they saw, nor can I understand the source of this power. All they could do was watch the cracks in the sky continue to expand, Professor X and Beast in the distance. They were all stunned. Does this power really exist? They both knew it very clearly. The ones fighting are Nuo Lin and Qin. The sky is falling down. Professor X's lips trembled slightly. Beast was also shocked beyond words. Is this something humans can achieve? This is too outrageous. Same. There are also countless mutants who start to find out what happened. Among them is the boss of Mutant Brotherhood, Magneto. Directions to Xavier College. Magneto was also slightly shocked. Even though he was well informed, he had never seen such a scene. It seems that there is a powerful mutant in Xavier College. Mystique looked at Magneto and said slowly, "It seems like he just joined not long ago." ADIDs. Magneto smiled knowingly. This young mutant who just joined Xavier College, the easiest to be misled, isn't it? Besides, politicians from all countries are also extremely. The view turns back to the battlefield. Qin's eyes glared and she gritted her teeth. Her veins bulged due to the burst of power. Phoenix Force continued to surge and increase. Finally, the long sword formed by the space debris could not withstand the huge amounts of pressure and exploded. At this moment, it seemed as if the entire universe was shaking. The sky of half the Earth was also on the verge of its limit. The space structure began to collapse, and cracks spread rapidly like a spider web. The space debris fell like raindrops flying in the air, making the already shocked people on Earth even more at a loss. Fortunately, the space had the self-healing ability, and it was fully restored in the next instant. However, this space is still shaking. It seems that if we suffer this kind of attack again, there will be irreversible consequences. Nuo Lin knew it too, so he quickly opened a space crack and moved to Qin's side instantly. Before Qin could react, he kicked her into the space crack. Then he also entered. The space crack closed quickly. Change the battlefield, gambling maniac, hiss. Yuuki Asuna, is this a battle between gods? The pot-headed leader. Those things that were shattered just now were all space, right? My super ability is to be rich. Everyone in the group was shocked. But Batman Bruce is different the moment he saw the live broadcast. I started to think about what would happen if these two people appeared in my world. So how is he going to deal with it? The final result is, can't handle it. Superman can also use kryptonite. But I don't understand the two people in front of me at all. And we don't know their weaknesses. They say you can't fight Batman Bruce Wayne, but that also requires Bruce to find a weakness. Then he could find a way to attack the weak point during the fight. It's like challenging Superman to a fight. Everything is closely linked and the preparations are very complete. Everyone says that DC is bullshit. How could Superman be defeated by an ordinary person like Batman? But is there a possibility? Bruce took advantage of Superman's mentality of not wanting to be cruel to him. Only then can we take him down. If Superman hadn't said his mother's name in the end, he might really die at Bruce's hands. No, I must observe carefully in the future, the other side, this is a different time and space. Everything is shrouded in an extraordinary beauty and danger. The light around them was as bright as stardust. They flicker in the void of the universe. It was as if countless tiny fixed stars were burning in the darkness. These lights do not come from any living source, but it comes from the original characteristics of this time and space. They are the soul of this extreme universe. It is the light of life in this lifeless realm. Countless lifeless planets are floating in this space and time. They are like lonely travelers, drifting aimlessly in the ocean of the universe. These planets vary in size and shape, and some are like huge amounts of rocks with cracks and holes all over their surfaces. Some are like cold metal spheres, reflecting the cold glow of the surrounding light. They move slowly in time and space, as if being pulled by some invisible force or as if following some cosmic law. Often, these planets will collide with each other. There was an extremely terrifying explosion. Every collision is like a grand fireworks show in the universe. The energy wave generated by the explosion spread instantly, swallow the surrounding light, forming huge amounts of energy vortexes. These vortices spin in time and space, releasing astonishing energy. Bang. It is just such a time and space, but a space rift suddenly opened up. A figure burst out from it and slammed heavily into a huge metal planet, instantly turning the metal planet into cosmic garbage. Then, another figure flew out from the space crack. It's Neo Lin. He watched Chin still flying in this universe. A smile suddenly appeared on his face. In this extremely lifeless universe, time and space seem to have lost their meaning. There is no sign of life here, no trace of civilization, only endless nothingness and eternal silence. However, it is this extreme environment. It was exactly what he had in mind. That's what he wanted. Buzz. The body of the guitar is the host of Phoenix Force. Now his body is controlled by Phoenix Force. It's true. He quickly adjusted his body and looked fiercely at Neo Lin. Arrogant boy. Here she also burst out all her current strength. Boom. A deafening roar echoed in the silent universe. It was as if the heartbeat of the universe was being mercilessly struck at this moment. A phoenix symbol suddenly burst out of Jean Grey's body. The terrifying fiery red energy was like a raging wave. With her as the center, it exploded instantly, releasing suffocating energy. This energy is like the wrath of the universe. The source constantly surges towards the surroundings. Its tide keeps growing and growing, from lonely planets to a complete planet system, then to the huge fixed star series. Its power is all-encompassing and indestructible. Everything in the surrounding starry sky, whether it is a hard planet or floating space debris, it will be instantly annihilated into powder and turned into cosmic dust under the impact of this energy. Have you finally unleashed your strongest power yet? Neo Lin looked at the scene before him, which seemed like the end of the universe. Instead, he burst into extremely wild laughter. He is not afraid of anything. You know, he is considered an almighty god. Galaxies, countless stars, the universe, spread out from beneath his feet, they were like a child's toy to him. When Earth's heroes sacrificed themselves to defeat Onslaught, Franklin subconsciously sent the Avengers and other superheroes to the pocket universe Counter-Earth he created, reborn in a new reality, to escape the fact that his parents died. Using humanoids to project a false core of all realities, creating countless realities out of thin air. It's this terrifying ability. This made Neo Lin feel very bored. This was just childhood. As an adult, Franklin was judged by the gods to be beyond the Omega level and was called the shaper of the universe and a constant danger to the galaxy. Would you be afraid of this? Are you kidding? Shua. Neo Lin laughed. Against the profound backdrop of the universe, Neo Lin's body began an amazing transformation. His body was wrapped in a light blue barrier. This barrier is like the strongest shield in the universe, preventing the Phoenix Force from disturbing him at all. Immediately afterwards, the blue barrier on his body continued to twist and condense. It quickly transformed into an enlarged version of the giant Nuolin. His body grew bigger, 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 bigger at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, it was even larger than a galaxy. The transparent blue body appears extremely spectacular in the universe, as if it has become a part of the universe, standing shoulder to shoulder with the stars. Every muscle contains enough power to shake the stars. As the skin expanded, it became as hard as the stars, emitting a faint glow, as if it was condensed from countless stars. His eyes are like two bright fixed stars, sparkling with wisdom and power. The hair fluttered in the wind of the universe, and each strand of hair seemed like a meteor, streaking across the dark space. Have a good fight. Nuolin clenched his fist and smashed it hard towards where the piano was. Chin's body seemed so small in front of his fist, not even as big as a grain of sand. Boom. There was a loud bangs. It's like the heartbeat of the universe. It shook the entire galaxy. The force of this blow was so terrible that an extremely loud sound was heard in the universe. The sounds go beyond normal sound waves and are a kind of level universe vibration. It travels through the stars, through black holes, and across the boundaries of time. Endless waves are rolling in the universe. Phoenix Force is like the pulsation of the universe, spreading out wave after wave. Under Nuolin's impact, the Phoenix Force made a sharp sound, sharp and harsh like the wail of the universe. The next moment, the spatial structure of the universe was damaged in the battle between the two. A space rift was blown open that spanned the entire galaxy. Whether it was a black hole or other wonders of the universe, they were all destroyed. The crack was like a wound in the universe, revealing a deep and mysterious void. There were strange lights flickering at the edges. They were the energy released after the space was torn apart. They jumped in the darkness like sparks of the universe. However, the cracks soon returned to normal. Only dense cracks in space showed how hard the universe had just been hit. His power is too great. Phoenix Force felt unparalleled pressure. As a force that has existed since the beginning of the universe, it had never felt such a strong sense of oppression, but under adversity. Only then can a more terrifying force beyond the limit be unleashed. The next moment, its flame under Nuolin's fist was like a flame doused with gasoline, instantly bursting out with even hotter energy. This force expanded rapidly like a raging fire, pushing away Nuolin's fist, causing his body to stagger backwards. The flames of Phoenix Force reached an unprecedented height at this moment. Its light illuminates the surrounding stars. The dark space was dyed a fiery red. Nuolin steadied himself and stared at the scene in front of him. The flames transformed into a phoenix in front of him, illuminating his transparent blue body red. Its form is elegant and majestic, and each feather seems to be made of the purest fire, flashing with dazzling light. Ouch. The fire phoenix spreads its wings in the universe, make a loud sound that resounds throughout the universe. Every flap of its wings brought about a cosmic storm and cut through the paths of the stars. The real battle begins now, in the Wanji chat group, on the group members' screens. No, it should be right in front of me. A function of the live broadcast room, it's like being there. The battle scene between Nuolin and Phoenix is like a cosmic epic. It shakes everyone's heart. Their eyes are fixed on this universe. The shock in my heart cannot be described in words. The scale of this battle has far exceeded their imagination. A galaxy-level giant, an existence that once existed only in fantasy, but now it is vividly presented before them. The expressions of the group members also changed from surprise to awe. Then there was complete silence. They looked at Nuolin's huge body, feel the burning flame of Phoenix Force. It was as if I saw the arrival of God. In the face of this battle, they undoubtedly felt their own insignificance even more deeply. Is this true? A member's voice sounded in the chat group, with a tremor of disbelief. It's Yuuki Asuna. 303. A giant the size of a galaxy file, this is simply a myth among myths. Another group member responded. His words were filled with awe and hidden fear. It's Bruce Wayne. Nuolin's power, Phoenix's flame this. This is beyond our understanding. Another group member said, her voice revealing deep shock. There was a blush on Jabami Yumiko's face. Excited, unimaginably exciting, tensed and exciting, gamble. Gambling in the face of this kind of battle. What does it count for? There was silence in the chat group. The group members were digesting everything they saw. They knew that this scene would become the most profound image in their memory. A long, long time in the future. There is no chance of anything else appearing. The Fire Phoenix is extremely huge. However, Nuolin is not to be outdone. While the Phoenix Force is still showing off its power, he simply extended his hand. The transparent big hand is like the hand of God. He reached to the side and unexpectedly grabbed a piece of the galaxy, turned it into a star disk, and smashed it hard towards Phoenix Force. Bang. Chinese letter. The Phoenix Force howled in pain. His head was hit and fell to the side. Their powers are intertwined. An unprecedented energy storm formed above the star disk held by Niu Lin. The power of this storm was extremely terrible. So much so that entire galaxies began to disintegrate under its influence. Fixed star, planet, black hole in the galaxy, and all celestial bodies. They all gradually lost their original forms in this energy storm. Their light was swallowed up. Matter is torn apart. Eventually it turned into countless stars, like the tiniest speck of dust in the night sky, slowly dissipating into the abyss of the universe. These are little stars. It is the last trace of the galaxy. They shine faintly against the cosmic background. It seems to be telling the glory that once existed. Soon it drifted away with the wind, merged into the endless darkness, and became an eternal part of the universe. Ouch! Phoenix Force screamed again. The sound waves vibrated and spread to the edge of the universe, and all the planets in the path exploded. I saw it flap its wings and fly. Swish. The energy that was released alone extended over an unknown number of light years, destroying several galaxies in the surrounding area that were as large as the Milky Way. Buzz. Buzz Buzz 1. Niu Lin on transparent blue skin. There were actually ripples. He raised his hands involuntarily, trying to block out the waves of noise. However, Niu Lin's huge body constantly resonates due to the vibrations of the sound waves on his skin. The cracks spread rapidly like the faintest lightning in the night sky. These cracks are densely packed, like a spider web. It quickly covered his entire body, from the soles of the feet to the top of the head, everywhere. Cause click, click. The cracks spread at an alarming rate. They interweave into a broken picture on Niu Lin's body. Bang. Bang bang. Immediately afterwards there was a loud bang. Niu Lin's body exploded. Countless fragments were like a meteor shower, shooting out in all directions. These fragments carry huge amounts of energy. They streak across the universe, affected dozens of galaxies. The galaxy faced this destructive force. Like fragile glass, easily crushed. Fixed star goes out, planet disintegrates, black hole annihilates. Everything was annihilated under the impact of this force and turned into cosmic dust. Phoenix Force's attacks don't stop there. These sound waves are more than just physical vibrations. They also contain the power of rules of the universe. This kind of the power of rules, like the Weaver Girl of Time. The cycle of life is woven into Niu Lin's body. Niu Lin's body, under the influence of the power of rules. It began to change at a speed visible to the naked eye. His appearance quickly changed from that of a child. Became a teenager, then there are the youth, next comes middle age. Finally there is old age. His skin was loose, the wrinkles are deeply engraved, hair turns gray, it seems as if it has experienced the baptism of countless years. Niu Lin looked at his old hands, but there was no panic, the power of time. The changes didn't stop there. Niu Lin's body began to reverse again, from old age to middle age, youth, and teenager. In the end, it even turned into a baby. His body was constantly shrinking. The skin becomes smooth and the eyes reveal an innocent light. It's like returning to the starting point of life. This phenomenon of constantly changing through several stages of life makes Niu Lin's body almost a witness to the passage of time. Every change of his is like a reincarnation of life. Haha, the power of time. Who doesn't? Niu Lin watched helplessly as his wrinkled hands turned into childish ones. I wanted to speak. All that came out of his mouth were babbling words. Then he patted his head, and a protective film quickly covered his entire body. Soon he returned to his original appearance. No, not the original one, but it was a young man exactly as he looked when he went to the Demon Slayer world. Then fight. Against the deep background of the universe. The fierce battle between Niu Lin and Phoenix has begun. Every time they fought, they are all battles between the gods of the universe, from the distortion of spatial rules to the crossing of temporal rules. They fought like gods. Figures constantly shuttle between galaxies. It is much faster than the speed of light. Every appearance is accompanied by fluctuations in the rules and represents a confrontation with the rules. Space twisted before them. Time flows beneath their feet. Boom. Booms. Booms. In the aftermath of their battle, galaxies exploded like a cosmic fireworks. The destruction of these galaxies shines in the darkness of the universe, like the most brilliant fireworks in the world. Beautiful but short-lived, just a moment. Most of this entire space and time has been destroyed. The destruction of a galaxy is not just the disappearance of matter. It is more like a reshaping of the cosmic order. The universe is like a picture that has been mostly painted over, leaving countless blank spaces and unknowns. In the Wanji chat group members witnessed the entire battle. Oh my god. The little B******D was stunned. Is New Lin really from the same world as me? Does this kind of mutant really exist in my world? Didn't you see it just now? It's the scene just now on Earth. Yuuki Asuna glanced at the little b asterisk asterisk ch. Zio Jianjian swallowed hard and said, I saw it. Then shouldn't it be 5.1? Jabami Yumiko said, since we can see it, it means we are in the same world, the same Earth. I'm a bit sweaty. Zio Jianjian wiped the cold sweat from his head. You know, when I first joined the group, seems to have done some strange actions. This made New Lin unhappy, DUT. I don't know if he forgot, it's okay if you forget it. If I hadn't forgotten. Zio Jianjian felt itchy on his body. Damn it, finished. Besides, not to mention the rest of the group members, all were speechless. The battle between rules, outrageous, it's beyond words. The battle between the two continues. New Lin's fist is as heavy as the universe. Every strike can tear space apart, create black holes of infinite file size, devouring everything around it. His steps are like the waves of the river of time. Every movement can travel through time and space. Appears behind Phoenix and delivers a fatal blow. Phoenix Force relies on her almost unlimited energy. Every counterattack is like a phoenix rising from the ashes, burning with the flame of life. There was an unyielding light in the eyes of Phoenix Force. Each flap of its wings can release a destructive wave of energy that can reduce galaxies to dust. The figure is like the only existence in the universe. Every rotation distorts time, make New Lin's attack come to naught. It's so good, so good, so good. New Lin is having a great time. Countless rules are like strands of thread, constantly interweaving and colliding in the universe. Some of these rule lines are shining while others are dull. They weave intricate patterns on the cosmic stage. Every collision caused ripples in the rules, pushing the entire space and time to the edge of the unknown. Time and space flow backwards and matter disappears. This moment, the order of the universe was completely overturned. Time no longer flows linearly. Instead, it rotates like a whirlpool. The past and the future are intertwined at this moment, forming an unpredictable maze. Matter changes in the chaos of rules. Atoms and molecules decompose and recombine under the impact of rule. A completely new form of existence was formed. The sky became the ground became the sky. The universe is turned upside down and the concept of space is completely overturned. Stars are falling in the sky, as brilliant as a meteor shower, and countless galaxies rose from the ground. They were born out of the chaos of rule and perished in the chaos of rules. Metal became paper and flakes became stone. The nature of matter is redefined at this moment. They constantly change their forms in the interweaving of rules, forming a new state of matter. This kind of battle is interesting. What are the previous battles? As soon as Nuo Lin said this, Burroughs, who was watching the battle, had a cold sweat on his forehead. Good job, isn't this speaking volumes about him? Pity. Nuo Lin doesn't bother to care about what others think. Right now, he was so happy that he felt like flying because of the exhilarating battle, even though he still didn't use his full strength. But being able to bring out some of his strength is enough for him to feel the joy of fighting. Ha 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 tilde. Nuo Lin's laughter and movements are particularly eye-catching. His right hand slowly opened as if silently summoning something, following his movements. Strange changes began to appear in the surrounding starry sky, tiny little stardust, as if being pulled by some invisible force. They began to gather from all directions. These stardusts flicker faintly in the dark universe. They gathered quickly above Nuo Lin's palm, forming a rotating star disk. The formation process of this star disk was extremely rapid. Almost in the blink of an eye, a miniature universe made up of countless stardust was born in Nuo Lin's hands. Inside the star disk, the planet revolves around the fixed star. Fixed star radiates a warm glow. Countless galaxies twinkle on the edge of the star disk. It forms a complete picture of the universe. Although this star disk is small in size, it contains all the mysteries of the universe. It is a microcosm of the universe. Nuo Lin held the star plate gently in his palm, his eyes revealing a hint of excitement. Immediately following, his right hand clenched into a fist. Concentrate the power of the entire universe into this punch. Following his movements, that miniature universe made up of countless stardust, he held it tightly in his fist. The planets, fixed stars, and galaxies inside the star disk seemed to be frozen at this moment. They gathered into an irresistible force in Nuo Lin's fist. A crazy smile appeared on Nuo Lin's face. His eyes flickered with desire for power and excitement for the challenge. He swung his right fist violently. He smashed towards Phoenix Force while shouting, "Cosmic Explosion Fist." This punch, it seems to contain the energy of the entire universe. Its speed is so fast that it exceeds the speed of light and exceeds the concept of speed. Space distorts in front of it and time stagnates under its feet. The universe inside the star disk burst into dazzling light at this moment. Planets, fixed stars, and galaxies are instantly integrated under the power of this punch. A huge amount of energy ball is formed. This ball of energy spun in Neo Lin's fist releases a devastating wave of energy. The power of this punch is enough to shake the foundation of the entire universe. Ouch. Phoenix Force obviously felt threatened by this punch. It gave a loud cry. The glow of the body became even hotter at this moment. It seemed to swallow up the entire universe. However, Neo Lin's cosmic blast fist has arrived. The two powerful forces collided at this moment, causing ripples in the universe. Big Bang. Neo Lin's punch. It's like the Big Bang reappearing, carrying endless energy and destructive power. It hit Phoenix Force directly in the face. As the fist fell, a dazzling light burst out in the universe, dispelling all darkness. Boom. Booms. Booms. Waves of aftermath spread from the collision point to the surrounding areas. They are like ripples in the universe. Wherever I go, galaxies are destroyed and the universe collapses. Fixed stars were extinguished in the aftermath, planets were shattered in the aftermath, and galaxies disintegrated in the aftermath. The entire universe began to vibrate. As the aftermath spreads, the dazzling light converges. The entire universe began to dissipate. The boundaries of the universe become blurred. The fabric of space and time began to unravel. The existence of the universe seemed to be wiped out. Only endless nothingness remains. The universe ends. At the moment, the members of the Wanji chat group were so shocked that they were speechless. Not shocked, but numb. Anyone who sees a man holding the universe in his hand will rush forward and punch him with a big bang punch. They will be shocked to the point of numbness. One after another, one ability and powerful strength after another. It has completely transcended their thinking. It makes their brains crash. Jabami Yumiko's legs were even shaking. The blush on her face was extremely obvious, holding face in hands. The calves were trembling slightly. It seems ... It seems, becoming a servant is not that bad after all. With the annihilation of the universe, the figures of Neo Lin and Phoenix Force were instantly exposed outside the universe. Their figures, crossing the boundaries of time and space, appeared in an unknown area. In this realm there are no stars and no light. There is only endless darkness and nothingness. Neo Lin and Phoenix Force became the only existence in this new field. Their figures seemed particularly lonely and small in the darkness.